on. It's been great talking to you.
Yeah. What is up, everybody? It's your boy Cat in the Hat. Sunday fun day. That's right, cooking with the real. And today, as we get closer to NFL kickoff, that's right, 45 days away till the NFL kicks off, and it's time for us to go ahead and knock out that 32 team schedule prediction. That's right, we got all 32 teams we gonna be dropping the schedule predictions for. That way you can come back later. You could say this video, look for your favorite team, come back later, and then roast my ass with how wrong I was. But maybe a few of these I get right. I don't know. We got the question down in the chat. Let me know who y'all think is going to have the best record and the worst record. And if you want to drop some info on why you have those thoughts, hit that chat. Hit that chat down below. So go ahead, hit that like, smash that subscribe button if you're new, but definitely hit the like on the way in. It helps us, puts us in the algorithm, gets more eyes on the prize. Because we're going to have some fun today. We're going to have some fun actually going through these schedule predictions. So go ahead, sit back, relax, share it with a friend, let's get some people over here, get some new subs over here, some new viewers over here, because we got a whole lot coming up for the 2026 football season. That's right, we're going to have fantasy football rolling back around. Training camps are right around the corner. I'll be down there. I'll be reporting on it. We got a lot of stuff. I'm going to be kicking off my Hope program this year as well. We're going to be doing a lot more in the community with the homeless and the less fortunate. So be on the lookouts for that. So we got a lot of stuff coming with the AFCEASTIEBOYS. I might schedule a party at some point, maybe a tailgate before one of the games. We got some new merch in the Macari shop. We dropped a whole bunch of new merchandise in the Macari shop, and we got some AFCEASTIEBOYS merch for you, so make sure y'all check it out and go get those. We got some new t-shirts. We're going to have some hats coming, a couple different designs for some t-shirts as well. So be on the lookout for that. Of course, we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, ladies and gentlemen. We're on that road to 1,000 subscribers, and we can use your help. We can definitely use your help for this. We're going to have another giveaway going on for when we hit 1,000 subscribers. The best way to get entered into the giveaway, like, comment, share, obviously subscribe, become a member of the Discord. It's totally free for you, totally free. All you gotta do is hit that Discord link, join the Discord. It's a pretty cool place to be, 24/7 access to the AFCEASTIEBOYS community. Tons of people always in there talking parlays, bets, yada yada, you name it, it's gonna be there. It's also where you want to be plugged in if you win any of our giveaways, because that's how we're going to get a hold of you, so we can send your winnings out to you. So go check it out if you have not already. But let's jump right into it, why don't we? Let's jump right into it. And of course my video.
Don't agree with it? That's too bad.
Like and subscribe anyways.
Like and subscribe anyways.
I was going to say, and of course my video doesn't want to work. Welcome in. Let's get this underway. We're going to go through and we're going to predict the schedule for all 32 teams in the NFL. And we're going to have a little bit of fun with it. Bam, bam, bam. We're going to do it division style first. Go ahead, somebody down in the chat, drop a division that you want me to start with. And we'll start in that division. And I'm hoping the way that this works is it goes through. I'm hoping the way it works is it goes through and it will finish out every other um, team as well. So, like, let's say I start with the Arizona Cardinals and it's Arizona Cardinals versus Rams, and I fill out win for the Rams. I'm hoping that over in the Rams section, it'll automatically fill that out for me as well. That'll help us down the line, making sure we're not mixing anything up. And it'll also help us fill out the Dolphins schedule so we can be completely unbiased with the Miami Dolphins schedule, right? We're going to save that one for the end, and hopefully it gets automatically filled out for us. I really wish I knew how to. Let's see if we can. I'm trying to figure out how I can highlight these messages. I'm still figuring it out. We're still figuring it out, but we'll get it. We'll get it at some point. So go ahead. Drop down in the chat below which division you want me to start with. Which division should we start with? Thinking I want to start in the NFC. Thinking we should definitely start with the NFC. What do y'all think? What do y'all think? Let's start with the NFC South. Why don't we? And we'll start with the Saints. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, drop down in the chat below who do you think's going to have the best record? Who do you think's going to have the worst record in the NFL this year? Drop it in the chat below as we work our way through this scheduled prediction. And we're going to start off with the New Orleans Saints. So, New Orleans Saints, they made some improvements this offseason, but I think they're still in the process of building a team that they would like to take them into the future. The good thing with the New Orleans Saints is they're in a division that it doesn't really, you don't have to be outstanding in order to make it to the playoffs. You can probably make it to the playoffs with a 9-win schedule. With a 9-win season, you can probably make it to the playoffs. Now the question, how far can you go once you get to the playoffs? I think that really depends on what your wild card is. The New Orleans Saints, I think they can fight for the playoffs just based on the division that they're in, but I don't think that they would go very far in the playoffs. But with that being said, let's go ahead and run through their schedule. We already know Tyler Shuck is most likely going to get the start. They got Travis Etienne over there, or A-Chain, however you want to say it. Alvin Kamara restructured his deal. He's going to be retiring with the Saints. And, of course, you know, they got some weapons on offense as far as the receivers go with Chris Olave. I think the defense really here is the question. I don't think it's going to be enough to stop the Detroit Lions or the Baltimore Ravens for that matter. Both of them offenses are probably going to be humming and working pretty efficiently. I can see them beating the Raiders. I can definitely see that. But early on in the season, I'm going to have to give this one to the Falcons. I mean, it's Saints at home, though. I think we'll give it to the Saints at home. I think that it'll be early on enough in the season that they can pull out a win against the Atlanta Falcons. I think they're still going to try and be figuring things out over there between Michael Penix and Tua Tagovailoa. The run game with Bijan Robinson is great, but I think they can actually squeak a win away from the Minnesota Vikings as well. That defense over there is super tough, but unfortunately the quarterback play is very questionable. And the running back room isn't that great. I'm going to give the edge to the New Orleans Saints here, But I'm going to say that the New York Giants are going to beat the New Orleans Saints in week 6. Jim Harbaugh, or John Harbaugh over there in New York, brings Isaiah Likely over there with him. Isaiah Likely is going to become the next Mark Andrews for Jackson Dart. You're going to have Cam Scatabo hopefully back and healthy. Jackson Dart hopefully healthy. I think early on in the season, the New York Giants might actually look like a pretty good team. And I think the question with that is going to be, can they keep it going? And then week 7, the Saints hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not gonna downplay it. I think the Steelers are going to be a really good team this year. Week 8, they get a bye week. They go into the bye week. They're sitting at 3-4. 3-4. And then we got, out of the bye week, they're going to be hosting the Cleveland Browns. Can they get a win against the Cleveland Browns here? Back to back. Get a win against the Browns, but they're going to lose against the Panthers at home. And then they travel to Chicago and then Cincinnati. Both of those are going to be losses, and they're going to lose to the Green Bay Packers at home. But they're going to beat the Panthers at home. Wait, I put wins here. These are supposed to be losses. These are all supposed to be losses. All right. And then they play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home. They're going to lose this one. Oh. But they are going to beat the Arizona Cardinals. And then the second time they will lose to the Falcons late in the season. And they will get swept by the Buccaneers. So they're looking at a 6-11 record. 6-11 record for 2026. Any let me know what y'all think about that down in the chat. Six and 11 record for the New Orleans Saints, and that's not going to be good enough because they're going to get swept by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They thought they were going to do good this year, but I think that loss to the Giants and then that loss to the Panthers, that second loss to the Falcons. Yeah, 6-11. All right, saving. All right, so now let's see if it continues to save them. We'll do the Arizona Cardinals. Oh, yes. Yes. See, I love it. See how it has it filled in there? See how it has it filled in there? Oh, that's wonderful. That's freaking wonderful. All right, so early on in the season for the Arizona Cardinals are definitely struggling right now. They still haven't got anything worked out with Jacoby Brissett, but I don't blame them. You have Jacoby Brissett out here demanding top 5 quarterback money, even though he's a certified backup quarterback. Completely makes no sense in my mind that he's demanding the contract he is, but last I heard, they are kind of coming to an agreement, but I think that's probably because Carson Beck has been out there challenging him for the starting job. So early on in the season, we don't really know what the Arizona Cardinals are going to look like on offense. We do know that they went out and got Jeremiah Love with the 4th pick, but that doesn't necessarily mean much. I mean, we saw Ashton Genty last year in an offense that was completely abysmal. The Arizona Cardinals are a team I definitely would make sense for them to try and fight for the number 1 pick this year. And as you can see with their schedule, it might not be hard. It might not be hard for them to achieve that goal. And it's going to start off super ugly. Super ugly for the Arizona Cardinals. And I'm talking week 1, loss to the Chargers. Week 2, lost to the Seattle Seahawks. Week 3, lost to the San Francisco 49ers. And then week 4, they play the Giants. Now the Giants, again, this is going to be early in the season. The Giants are going to be looking real good, and it's going to be tough. But somehow Arizona's going to get a win there. I don't know how it's going to happen, but they're going to get a win there, and then they're going to go loss, 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 loss. Like, bam, there they are, going into week 11 to play the Kansas City Chiefs at home, and they only got 1 win so far. Man, these Arizona Cardinals are really looking like they're going to fight for that number 1 spot because they're losing against the Chiefs, the Commanders, the Eagles. Woo! Man, now the Jets. Now this is the tank bowl between the two of them. Which team is going to suck worse? It's late in the season. Their record's 1-13. Jets are probably looking at 2 wins right now, so they really need to make sure that they lose this game and give the game to the Arizona Cardinals. But then the Arizona Cardinals are going to lose to the Saints, and then they're going to lose to the Raiders, and then they're going to lose to the 49ers in Week 18. Oh, I put those as wins. What's up, Cap for Life? So it's not a pretty season for the Arizona Cardinals, but you can't really, if you're an Arizona Cardinal fan, this is kind of best case scenario for you because this probably locks down number 1 pick next year, and not having an answer at quarterback right now is really what you need. You need to have an answer at quarterback. And going 2-15 for the 2026 season for the Arizona Cardinals, that'll definitely give them an answer at quarterback. Now, which quarterback will they take with that number 1 pick? I don't know. We'll have to wait and find out. So let's go ahead and save that. Let me know what team next. What team should we do next, ladies and gentlemen? Seems like we just jumping around. They got them listed in alphabetical order. So y'all just list me a team down in the chat, and that's the team we'll do next. And go through and fill out all of these schedules. And I like how it fills it in other brackets. So I don't have to try and remember, did I pick a win or a loss here? It has it automatically filled in for me. Let me know down in the chat who's going to have the best record in 2026 and who's going to have the worst record in 2026. Let me know. All right. I mean, we'll just keep going down the list here, right? Might as well just keep going down the list here. Got the Atlanta Falcons next. Another NFC team in a division where it doesn't take a whole lot of wins. All right, we'll do the 49ers next. We're in the NFC in a division where it's not going to take a whole lot of wins to make the playoffs. You probably can win your division with 9 wins. Doesn't mean that you're going to go into the playoffs and do anything spectacular. A lot of turnaround for the Atlanta Falcons this offseason, right? I'm pretty sure they got a new quarterback and Tua Tagovailoa. They got a new coach, Kevin Stefanski. But they still have Bijan. They locked down Kyle Pitts. They got Drake London over there. So they got some weapons on offense. I think it's going to be a matter of how well their quarterback play can be. Now you have 2 injury-prone left-handed quarterbacks going to be getting starts over there in Atlanta. And I think if they spam Bijan Robinson, they have a good chance of winning some games. So let's run through it and see how well they can do. I'm already told you guys I'm pretty high on the Steelers this year, so week 1 for the Atlanta Falcons is definitely going to be a loss against the Steelers at home. And then they go home and they play the Carolina Panthers. This is a divisional rivalry, a divisional game. I think early in the year, especially with the Carolina Panthers dealing with some injuries currently at the moment on offense and on defense, I think the Atlanta Falcons could probably pull a win away there. But they're not going to be able to pull a win away against the Green Bay Packers early in the season. You can see we already have them losing to the Saints at home. And then they host the Baltimore Ravens, who will get a win. And the Chicago Bears will get a win. And the 49ers will get a win. Now, Week 8, they play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home. And the Buccaneers are going to get a win here. But I think they can sneak. I think somehow they find a way to sneak a win away from the Bengals, but then lose to the Chiefs. So they're going into their bye week at 3-8. A 3-8 record going into your bye week at week 11. You come out, you play the Minnesota Vikings. That's a win for you, but then a loss to the Detroit Lions. But then you go back-to-back wins against the Browns and the Commanders. And then you play Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home. This is the game right here that could possibly decide the fate of the NFC South with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Atlanta Falcons. Man, this is a tough one. Can the Bucs sweep the Falcons? Falcons win this one at home, and then they win the Week 17 at home against the Saints, and then Week 18 playing the Carolina Panthers at home. Carolina Panthers are going to win this game. And that leaves the Atlanta Falcons with a 7-10 record. Ugh, just barely better than the Saints at 6-11, but still not going to be good enough. Most of their wins come within their own division. They got lucky. I don't know how they did it in Week 9, but they get lucky against those Cincinnati Bengals somehow. But there you go. 7-10 for the Atlanta Falcons. Not good. Not bad. Kind of right there in the middle. Missed the playoffs. And I could even see them losing against both the Browns and the Commanders, honestly. I just don't know what those teams are going to look like late in the season. So we'll have to see. Those easily could turn into losses. And this could be a 5-12 team. But we're going to save it like that. 49ers next. All right, let me know what the next team y'all want me to do. We got 49ers next. Who we going to do after the 49ers? Drop it down in the chat. All right, so we got the San Francisco 49ers next on the list. We haven't even touched their schedule, and they're already 3-0. They're already 3-0. Swept the Arizona Cardinals and got a win against the Falcons. San Francisco 49ers are a team that is always relevant in the playoff conversation, always relevant in the could be a Super Bowl contender conversation. Christian McCaffrey, Brock Purdy, George Kittle, they just picked up Mike Evans. Like, their defense is good, but they always have issues with injuries. Now, they're already dealing with injuries. The season hasn't even started. Their head coach got into an accident earlier this month and got fucked up. Broke some ribs, broke his nose, broke his hand, needed stitches, yada yada. Not even cleared to go stand on the sideline for practice. So, they are dealing with some issues right now in the health category. But it's just the coach. It's not the players, it's just the coach. So with that being said, they open up the season in week 1 against the LA Rams in Melbourne, Australia. And the Rams are a scary team. We haven't got to the Rams yet, but they are a scary team, and they get the win. And it's a muddy game. It's a grimy game. So they start their season 0-1. And then they come back. They come back from Melbourne, Australia to play the Miami Dolphins early in the year, right? Early in the year. Don't really know what the Miami Dolphins are going to do yet. But considering the fact that the 49ers are already dealing with some injuries. They're already dealing with some injuries. They're going to be coming back from Australia. The jet lag could be there. I don't think the 49ers are going to be at 100% when they're playing the Dolphins. And they don't really know exactly what to expect either. They're going to have week 1 against the Vegas Raiders to determine how to prepare for the Miami Dolphins. I don't think they're going to be ready for it. I don't think they're going to be ready for it. Chargers next. Got you. So now you got the LA Rams going into week 4 sitting at 2-1. 2-1 going into week 4 to play the Denver Broncos. And this is where they're going to get a loss here. They're going to get a loss early on in the season against the Denver Broncos. Bo Nix is going to be healthy. He's going to be playing. That defense is going to be rock solid. And they're just going to run all over the San Francisco 49ers. But the 49ers are going to beat a Seattle Seahawks team who's pretty injured themselves and not the same team that they were last year when they won the Super Bowl. Going to week 6 to host the Washington Commanders. 49ers get a win here against the Washington Commanders. So now they're going into their bye week after visiting the Atlanta Falcons. They're sitting at 5-3 going into their bye week. And then they come out of their bye week hosting the Vegas Raiders where they get a win. But then they get a loss here against the Dallas Cowboys at home. The Dallas Cowboys are looking hot at this point. Dak Prescott, George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, Javonte Williams, all them boys are putting in that work and making it look good. But they get a win against San Francisco they get a win against the Minnesota Vikings in week 11, and then they actually sweep the Seattle Seahawks. Because I'm telling you, the Seattle Seahawks aren't the same team. They beat the New York Giants, but then they get swept by the Rams. But they do beat the Chargers. They beat the Chiefs, but they lose to the Eagles. And then they finish out their season sweeping the Arizona Cardinals. So they did good in their division. They swept the Seahawks. They swept the Cardinals, but they got swept by the Rams. But other than that, they had a pretty good season. 12-5. Can't complain. And I can easily see that going 13-4 that week too. It's not a guarantee. This is like me assuming that the Dolphins can actually surprise a team coming off of a jet lag week after visiting Australia, coming back from Australia, dealing with injuries early in the season. But that still gets them into the playoffs, maybe, depending on how the Seahawks finish their season, right? 12-5 for the San Francisco 49ers. Let me know what y'all think about that record down below. Let me know what y'all think. You think they get more? You think they get less? Am I crazy with the week 2 prediction? You can say it. You're crazy, cat. You're crazy, cat. You're crazy. You think they're actually going to sweep the Seahawks? You think it's possible that they actually sweep the Seahawks? All right, so who do we got next? We got the Chargers next. We got the Chargers next, ladies and gentlemen. Chargers. Now, the Chargers are an interesting team. They get Jim Harbaugh a couple years ago. 2 years ago? They bring in Jim Harbaugh, trying to change things around. Get Omarion Hampton. He doesn't do too bad. And then this offseason, they bring in Mike McDaniel to help with the offense. Run game guru. But I think this is a better fit for Mike McDaniel. I think he is now going to be in a situation where he isn't in control and it's not all on him. So I think he's going to have he's going to be put in a better position to succeed. Now the question is going to be, can Justin Herbert and this offensive line stay healthy? Because we saw that they were a pretty good team last year, but they got into the playoffs without a healthy offensive line. They were missing 2 guys on their offensive line, and Justin Herbert was playing the Patriots with a broken hand. So that's the question, right? That's the question. Can they stay healthy, and can this run game be efficient enough to help out Justin Herbert in the passing game? And I think they will do good. I think they will do okay. So let's run through it. We already see here, because we've got it filled in, that the Chargers start their season at home week 1 against the Arizona Cardinals, and that's an easy win to start out the season. And then they stay home and they play the Vegas Raiders, and that's another win early in the season for the Los Angeles Chargers. And then they travel to Buffalo, and they play Buffalo. And somehow Mike McDaniel's able to scheme a run game against the Buffalo Bills, who struggle in the run defense, and he's able to get a win. He's able to pull away a win in week 3. So they start their season 3-0 to go to Seattle. And that's where their first loss is going to come in. Seattle Seahawks are not playing around with them. And plus the travel, they're going from Buffalo cross country. So I'm going to say that the Seattle Seahawks and their defense is good enough to slow down the Los Angeles Chargers. Same with the Denver Broncos. I think their defense is going to be good enough to slow them down. And then they have another divisional match in Kansas City. Chargers visiting Kansas City. This is week 6. I think this is like Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. You got Travis Kelce being Travis Kelce. And the Chiefs ain't going to let the Chargers beat them at home. So the Chargers go into their bye week at 3-3. Tied up 3-3, and they come out and they play the Rams. And I'm telling you, man, the Rams are a scary team. Could this be the game? Could this be the game that the Rams lose this year? Week 8 against the Chargers, pulling out the run game. I'm trying to think if the defense can stop Matthew Stafford in that offense, and I don't think it can happen. So they're going to lose to the Rams and the Texans, but they're going to beat the Baltimore Ravens. They're going to beat the Jets, and they are going to beat the Patriots. But they're going to lose to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'll explain why when I do the Tampa Bay Buccaneers scheduling. They're going to sweep the Raiders. Week 16 against the Dolphins. This is late in the season. Who knows what the Dolphins are going to look like at this point. Dolphins could be ass, or they could be one of the best teams in the NFL. Right now, as it stands, late in the season like that, oh my gosh. I'm going to have to give it to the Chargers. And the Chargers aren't going to let themselves get swept by their other teams. So they are going to beat the Chiefs at home, and then they are going to go to Denver and beat the Denver Broncos at the end of the season to finish out their season with a 10-7 record. A 10-7 record. I don't think that's going to be good enough. I don't think that's going to be good enough this year to make it to the playoffs. They're going to have to pull out another win here somewhere. But if you notice, they ran through the AFC East. They beat the Bills, the Patriots, and the Dolphins. They ran through the AFC East. The Jets, they beat everybody in the AFC East. It's crazy. That's crazy. I can't believe I did that. But they do. They clear out the AFC East. Bills, Pats, Jets, and Dolphins. Beating them all. But they're going to have to find another win or two somewhere, Because I don't think this 10-7 record for the Chargers is going to be good enough. I don't think it's going to be good enough for the playoffs. All they got to do is get into the playoffs, though, and then anything can happen. But man, 10-7, that's rough. I thought it might be better than that. I thought it might be a little bit better than that, but they played the Rams, they played the Texans, they play some tough teams, man. Their division is tough itself. 10-7. Let me know what y'all think about that one. Let me know what y'all think about that one. Over or under 10 wins? Let me know down in the chat. Next, we're going to have the Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys. I'm pretty high on the Dallas Cowboys this year. I'm not going to lie. I'm pretty high on the Dallas Cowboys this year. They went and picked up Caleb Downs in the draft. That should help with their defense. And last year, if we think about it, and you go back and you look at it, they were literally a Micah Parsons away from being in the playoffs and being a Super Bowl contender. Because that defense was like Swiss cheese out there. But that offense was lighting it up. But they were losing games. It was like 35-38. Crazy. Make sure y'all smash that like and subscribe. Everybody helps us out. Definitely appreciate it. And share it with a friend. We got plenty more teams to go. We've only gone through, 4 teams so far? 5 teams out of the 32. So we got plenty of teams to go. So plenty more time for people to roll in. Hit that subscribe button. Drop your comments down below. Let me know how crazy I am with these schedule predictions. Let me know if you think I'm right. If you think I'm wrong, let me know. Dallas Cowboys 2026. So you got CeeDee Lamb, you got George Pickens, and you got Dak Prescott. All 3 of them are efficient enough at their positions to get the job done. We saw it happen last year. Now it's going to be a question of whether this defense can get the job done and not be such Swiss cheese and allow so many points. But I do think that they start the season off week 1 against the New York Giants at home. They start that off with a win. I think the Washington Commanders early in the season, I think they pull a win away here to kind of spoil the Dallas Cowboys' hopes of starting their season off super hot. But then week 3, they get a win. They get a win against the Baltimore Ravens coming to visit them in Dallas. They're going to get a win here. But the defense in Houston is going to be too much for the Dallas Cowboys. They are going to shut down Dak Prescott. He's going to get sacked a lot. You said the volume is low for you guys? Hold on. Let me check. Let me fix that. How about now? Can y'all hear me better now? I don't want y'all to have to put headphones in. Maybe I just need to talk louder. That's all that is. Can y'all hear me? How about now? Can y'all hear me better now? All right, so week 5 playing against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're going to get a win against the Buccaneers, but they're going to lose to the Green Bay Packers early. The Philadelphia Eagles at home. No A.J. Brown. This one's a tough one. Can that run game and that passing game overcome the Dallas Cowboys? Can they overcome the Philadelphia Eagles? Right dead in the middle of the season. I think we're going to give the edge to the Eagles at home here. We're going to have to give the edge to the Eagles at home. And then you can see we have them beating the Arizona Cardinals. They're going to also beat the Indianapolis Colts. And then they go and they also beat the San Francisco 49ers. So right now, going into week 11, the Dallas Cowboys are sitting at 6-4. And then they win back-to-back games because they beat the Eagles at home. So now they split with the Eagles. Week 13, they're going to be playing the Seattle Seahawks. I think the Seattle Seahawks are going to try and make a name for themselves at this point. Late in the season, they beat the Dallas Cowboys. The Rams beat the Cowboys, but the Cowboys beat the Jags, the Giants, and close out the season with a win over the Commanders. Splitting with the Commanders, splitting with the Eagles, and who's the other one? Bum. Oh, they sweep the Giants. Okay. All right. 11-6. I mean, that's not bad. That's not bad. That could get you a playoff appearance. That could get you a wild card. Dallas Cowboys sitting there. If you end your season at 11-6, that could get you a wild card. But you can't miss any of these games. And if you could pull an extra win out somewhere, maybe by beating the Green Bay Packers or the Seattle Seahawks, or even if you could sweep the Philadelphia Eagles, that could guarantee you your division. If you could sweep the Eagles, that can guarantee you your division. 11-6, that's not bad, Dallas Cowboys. It's not bad. So who do we got next? We got the Chiefs. The Chiefs next. Okay. Let me know what y'all think about the Dallas Cowboys schedule prediction down below. And drop the team that you want me to do next, yo. Alright, so right now we haven't touched it, and the Kansas City Chiefs are sitting at 3-2. We haven't touched it yet. Early in the season, we're going to have a Patrick Mahomes that isn't going to be at full health. I don't think he's going to be 110% to start the season. I think they are going to start him, but it's going to be a limited role for him. They're going to spam Kenneth Walker a lot, and definitely have screens and options for Patrick Mahomes to be able to get rid of the ball quickly and not have to run around a whole lot. But that's going to affect their game, because that's how they win. Patrick Mahomes is able to extend the pocket, get out, buy time, give his receivers time to get open so he can find them and hit them for the first down and just move the chains down the field. But we're not going to see a whole lot of that through the first 4 weeks of the season, okay? I do imagine it's going to be a whole lot of Kenneth Walker and a little bit of Patrick Mahomes pizzazz. So week 1 against the Denver Broncos, even though that's a home game for the Kansas City Chiefs, I think the Denver Broncos are going to win that game. But I think they can bounce back. I do think that they can bounce back going week 2, playing against the Indianapolis Colts, who are probably going to start pretty hot. But I still think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to come away with the win there. Then they travel to Miami. Miami's first home game. It's going to be hot. It's going to be super hot down in Florida. We can hope that the heat plays in our favor, but can't confidently say that if Patrick Mahomes is starting, the Miami Dolphins in any way, shape, or form right now are going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. So we're going to have to go with a win there, and then a win against the Raiders at home as well to start their season 1-3 going into the bye week. And now Patrick Mahomes is feeling good. He's feeling comfortable. He's at 100%. They haven't overworked him through the first 4 weeks of the season. It's been a lot of Kenneth Walker, and now they get their bye week. He gets that extra week of rest. It's a little early, but Patrick Mahomes needed it, and now he can come out. He can start cooking. And the Kansas City Chiefs can start cooking. They come out. They host the Chargers. They get a win there. And then they go and they travel and they play Seattle. And that's where Seattle, they get a win. But they beat Broncos at home. They beat Jets. And then they beat the Falcons and the Cardinals to end out at 8-4 going into week 12 to play the Buffalo Bills. And typically Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills win in the regular season. but Patrick Mahomes wins in the postseason. And that's going to be the case here. They're going to lose at home against the Buffalo Bills. And they travel to LA to face the LA Rams, and they lose there. But he beats Joe Burrow in the Cincinnati Bengals, and he beats New England Patriots. But then they lose to the 49ers, and they lose to the Chargers at home. Week 18 against the Vegas Raiders. This is the question here. Can they get the win? Can they get the win at home to finish out their season 11-6, or are they going to finish out their season 10-7 and miss the playoffs? 10-7, you probably miss the playoffs in this situation. Because didn't the Chargers have 11-6? Didn't the Chargers have 11-6? Woo, 11-6 record. Crazy. But that's good considering last year they weren't even sniffing the playoffs. And that's going to make this division pretty tough. Pretty tough because we also got the Chargers going 11-6, and we haven't even got to the Denver Broncos yet. But we got the Cincinnati Bengals next on the list. So let's save that. Cincinnati Bengals. All right, so we got them already starting the season at 1-2. We haven't touched it, and they're sitting at 1-2 right now. I think this is going to be a good, healthy year for Joe Burrow. I think this is going to be a year for Joe Burrow where he is able to stay healthy throughout the season. And if Joe Burrow can stay healthy throughout the season, the Cincinnati Bengals are a scary, scary team to have to deal with. But they are going to start their season with a win against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they are going to get a win against the Houston Texans. But they're going to lose to the Steelers. They're going to beat the Jags, and they will beat the Dolphins. And they're going into week 6 sitting at 4-1. Going into their bye week in week 6. Come out of their bye week, they got to play the Baltimore Ravens at home. And they lose that game, but they beat the Tennessee Titans, and then they beat they beat the Steelers a second time. Week 10 at home. They beat the Washington Commanders. We already have them filled in as a win over the New Orleans Saints. They beat the Cleveland Browns. They lose to the Kansas City Chiefs. They beat the Carolina Panthers and the Colts. And they finish out their season with all wins. Oh my gosh. This is what a healthy Joe Burrow season looks like. Are you freaking kidding me? This is all the Cincinnati Bengals needed was Joe Burrow to stay healthy all year. And this is what it looks like. 13-4. Ridiculous. Redonkulous. Golly, them Cincinnati Bengals are better than we expected. Especially with a healthy Joe Burrow. And even if Joe Burrow goes down, like, I could still see them winning some of these games with a Joe Flacco. Like, I could still see them winning against the Commanders with a Joe Flacco. But I could also see them losing that game too. But this is why it's way too early schedule predictions, so we can come back later and roast my ass for how wrong I was. Or maybe I was right and nail it right on the head. We'll see. Doing a full breakdown, full schedule prediction. It's kind of cool because it fills it in as we go. What's going to be our next team? What's going to be our next team? Y'all let me know what the next team's going to be. I'll be back in a few moments. Need to go check on the kiddos. Get a refill on my drink. right, let me open up the Discord real quick. Give me a second. I'm working on opening it up. I'm opening it up. All right, Cap. The Discord should be open if you want to hop on in. If you want to hop in, the Discord is open. All right, let's continue on and go through these schedules. Let's go to the Baltimore Ravens. Let's knock out the Baltimore Ravens next. I don't know why my message got retracted, but it did. Anyways. Oh, hold on, I got my chat muted. Gotta unmute it. Oh, it's not muted. Bomb. All right, so the Baltimore Ravens, with the Baltimore Ravens, I don't think the Baltimore Ravens are going to do really great this year. I think they're going to be lucky to get 7 wins this year, mainly for the fact that they got Jesse Minter over there as a brand new head coach. You got Anthony Weaver as a defensive coordinator. If you're a Dolphin fan, you kind of understand where I'm coming from with that aspect. So I don't think their defense is going to be as good as it has been in years past. We've seen Anthony Weaver use a lot of people out of position. And they have a offensive coordinator that's pretty green when it comes to the NFL. He was a offensive coordinator in Chicago last year. And then other than that, no real NFL experience. So I feel like he's going to struggle a little bit coming in and having to deal with the likes of some veterans like Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, and Mark Andrews. But then again, them being veterans could work out in his favor. All he's got to do is game plan for them. But I think that they're going to take a step behind in his first year with Jesse Minter as the head coach. And with that being said, I think they start week 1 with a loss against the Indianapolis Colts. But they bounce back and they get a win against the Saints. But then they lose to the Dallas Cowboys. But then they get a win against the Tennessee Titans in week 4 and the Atlanta Falcons and the Cleveland Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals in week 7. They lose to the Buffalo Bills. They lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They lose to the LA Chargers to finish out week 10. Sitting there at, what is that, 5-5 after 10 weeks. 5-5. They're sitting at 500. Sitting at 500 after 5 weeks, these Baltimore Ravens. And then they go and they play the Carolina Panthers. They'll win against the Carolina Panthers, but they're going to lose to the Houston Texans defense. They're also going to lose to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and to the Pittsburgh Steelers at home. They're going to sweep the Cleveland Browns, but you can see here in Week 17 they lose to the Bengals. They lose to the Bengals. And then they got to finish out their season again playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the Pittsburgh Steelers get a win against the Baltimore Ravens at home. Oh, this is wrong. Pittsburgh Steelers supposed to get a win at home. And the Pittsburgh Steelers sweep the Baltimore Ravens. Sweep the Baltimore Ravens. Actually, I think in my first prediction, I had the Carolina Panthers beating the Baltimore Ravens. Eight and 9 for the Baltimore Ravens. Just under a 500 record. Under first-year head coach Jesse Minter. Crazy. What do y'all think? What do y'all think about that record right there? What's up? What's up? I heard somebody drop into the Discord. Cap for life. How you doing today, man?
Sunday fun day, bro.
Sunday fun day. Yeah, I'm kind of on a time schedule though today because I got to go pick up the wife. She gets off at 3, so trying to rush through all this and not have to finish it out tomorrow. That way tomorrow we can talk about other stuff. But what do you think about this? You're going to have to follow along on the YouTube in order to see the screen because I don't have it in the Discord here. Have you had any discrepancies with any of the schedules so far?
To be honest with you, I stopped watching after like the Chargers.
Well, I think after the
Where you at now?
after the Chargers, oh yeah, we did Cowboys, Chiefs, Cincinnati, and now I just did the Baltimore Ravens. I have their record ending out at 8 and 9.
Who has the best record so far?
The Cincinnati Bengals at 13 and 4. That's with a healthy Joe Burrow. Yeah, that's with a healthy Joe Burrow. If you pay attention to trends, like this should be a healthy year for Joe Burrow, and if that's the case, it was a 13 and 4 record, which was interesting. All right, let's keep going down the list. We're going to skip the Buffalo Bills for now. Hopefully we'll have them filled out with everyone else's schedule that we do. Let's do the Carolina Panthers. Carolina Panthers. Week one, they're hosting the Chicago Bears. And the Carolina Panthers are already dealing with some injuries so far in training camp. They've already put a few players on the PUP list on offense and on defense. They also lost a guy to an injury. I think it was an ACL tear or something. I don't know all the details on it, but he's going to be out for the first few weeks. So I feel like the Carolina Panthers might struggle a little bit early on in the season. We have them. They're hosting the Chicago Bears in week 1. I got to give that to Chicago Bears. We already have them losing to the Atlanta Falcons. That they travel to Atlanta in week 2. They play the Cleveland Browns in week 3. I think we're going to give all 4 of these games before bye week. We're going to give it to the opposing team. So they go into their bye week at week 5 at 0 and 4. And then they come out of their bye week. They gotta play the Philadelphia Eagles at home. It's gonna be another loss for the Carolina Panthers. I think they finally get their first win at home against a divisional rival in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Week 7, but then follow it up. And they actually sneak away. They're going to sneak away a win against the Green Bay Packers in Week 8, but they're going to lose to the Denver Broncos at home in Week 9. What's up, bud?
Can I get the most source me the reason? This time, just say yes or no.
Not right now.
Please.
All right, and then we see here in Week 10, they travel to New Orleans. They beat the New Orleans Saints, but then they go back home and lose to the Baltimore Ravens.
It's only $10.
And then they travel to Tampa. They're not going to sweep the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so they lose there. They beat the Minnesota Vikings, but then we have them losing to the Saints and to the Bengals in Week 14 and 15. And then they play the Steelers at home in Week 16. We're going to give that to the Steelers. Week 17, they host the Seattle Seahawks. We'll give that to the Seahawks. And then Week 18, they host the Atlanta Falcons. And we give that to the Carolina Panthers to finish out their season at 5-12. 5-12 for the Carolina Panthers. So they. What's up? What's up, Sharif?
Hey, Cap. Hey, Cat.
Hi.
That's it. Cat and Cap. My boys.
Buddy, Cat and Cap. I should change my name to Cat and the Cap.
What's going on, bud? How you been?
Name to cat is the hat.
Doing awesome, man. I'm ready for the season.
I think we're all ready for the season. For show. So let me know what y'all think about that record down in the chat below. 5-12 for the Carolina Panthers, coming off of a season where they win their division, barely win their division. But it seems like a rough 2026 for the Carolina Panthers. I think they're going to get their answer whether Bryce Young is the guy or not. Y'all got a specific team you want to do next?
Man, Cat, I didn't know. Did any of you guys, well, I know Cat, Cat, I expect you to know this, but can you confirm that? Because I've actually watched Tyreek, like saying he's lost complete power in his knee. Man, that just sucks for Tyreek. Anyone who would have picked him up,
He's not playing. He's not playing, bro. I mean, he wants to, but come on. You and I both know we put him in a bad spot.
Yeah, he's not.
Yeah, he said it he said it while he was in the pool. He was like, he just can't. He just has lost complete power. Up to this recovery point, that it seems it's going to take a season and a half for him to stay home and rehab.
Yeah, and in my honest opinion, he doesn't need to even search for a team anyways until at least Week 10, and by that point he'll have a better idea of his potential. Because if you're Tyreek Hill, you're not looking to play all season anyways. You're looking to go to a contender and hopefully compete for a championship, play 6-7 games, get a $3 million paycheck, and hopefully you can compete for a championship. Pull an OBJ. That's what I see Tyreek Hill doing for the rest of his career, is kind of pulling like an OBJ and just traveling around the teams that he thinks or feels like can compete.
Yeah, it kind of sucks because it's gonna take top speed for him to go by cornerbacks, and it takes explosion, as you know, cat, the explosion that you need to just and then you tear everything up if you don't let that completely heal. You would tear everything back up, and all the recovery that you just did would go for naught. So you have to be careful. I think it's 2 seasons before he played. Now that's telling me retire.
Retire. I don't know, but let's keep rolling through this schedule prediction so we can get this done. Right now we're looking at the Chicago Bears. In my opinion, the Chicago Bears are they're coming off of a good year. They're coming off of a year where they had a lot of fourth quarter wins. They made it pretty deep into the playoffs. This will be the second year with Ben Johnson. You've seen the relationship between Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson. They kind of formed a symbiotic relationship, and it really took the Chicago Bears to the next level. Their defense over there is pretty good. Not one of the greater defenses, but good enough to help win games and not completely stall out the offense. So we go through their schedule here. And like I said, if y'all want to follow along with the schedule, you got to go onto the actual stream to do that. But we got week 1. We already have them having a win over the Carolina Panthers. Week 2, they play the Minnesota Vikings. I easily see that being a win for the Chicago Bears early in the season. Same with the Philadelphia Eagles. I think at home, playing the Philadelphia Eagles, they're going to get a win here early in the season, and then they stay home. So they have 3 games at home back to back to back. That's Vikings, Eagles, then the Jets. So they're going to get wins there. So they're starting out their season. They're already sitting at 4-0. They head to Green Bay to play the Packers. And this is definitely a rivalry between the two teams. I'm going to have to give the edge early on in the season to the Packers at home here. They're still going to have Josh Jacobs. Everyone still should be healthy early in the season. And it's a home game. So we're going to give the advantage to the Green Bay. And that's going to be the Chicago Bears' first loss, in my opinion. And then week 6, they travel to Atlanta to play the Falcons. And then they travel back home to play the Patriots in week 7. I think, I think they're going to get a win here. But they're going to lose to the Seattle Seahawks and to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in week 8 and week 9. Then they're going to go into their bye week sitting at 9-1 going into their bye week. No, 8-1 going into their bye week. And then they come out in week 11. They're going to be playing the New Orleans Saints at home. That's an easy dub for them. But then they travel to Detroit to play the Detroit Lions at home. I definitely see the Lions winning that one. Then they travel back home to play the Jags. They win that one. And then they travel to Miami, week 14, to play the Miami Dolphins. And I don't know if y'all realize this or not, but this is the throwback game for the Miami Dolphins. Throwback game for the Miami Dolphins. Throwback uniforms. Week 14. Could the Dolphins be hot at this point? Could they be hot at this point and surprise the hell out of the Chicago Bears? They could. But we got to give it to the Bears right now. The Bills are going to beat the Bears. The Bears are going to win in week 16 at home against the Green Bay Packers. So they're going to split with the Packers. And they split with the Lions as well. And then week 18 to finish it out against Minnesota. Against Minnesota. Can they sweep the Vikings? I think the Vikings are going to spoil. I think the Vikings are going to spoil the Chicago Bears late in the season and give them a loss. So that they don't sweep the Vikings. And that's going to finish the Chicago Bears out at a 13-4 record. Not bad, right? Not bad. That's one of the top records in the NFC right now. What do y'all think about that? Y'all have any discrepancies? Any of those games y'all think might go the other way?
I think when they come down here that we may surprise.
I think so too. I
beat
think
them.
so too, Mr. Polk. I really do. I in my mind, I personally have that as a win because of the throwbacks and we might surprise them. But we'll see. We'll see. I think here I had to put it as a win for the Chicago Bears just because it's like I'm really high on the Chicago Bears for this season. Do I think they're going to beat the LA Rams when it comes down to it? No, but I think that they could easily be the second best team in the NFC this year.
You know, even though I'm not, I can't call up all the players by name and what have you, but I've been watching the Bears since they got Khalid Williams. Like I said, and I said this before, the first season he didn't do well because, like I said, it's the first season. Plus, he didn't have an offensive line. But now, I can, with me, I think that the Bears got something. They're built around Khalid and what have you, and now we're starting to see it. So, again, yeah, they're gonna be somebody to reckon with.
For sure. I think that they definitely are one of those teams that are improving for the better. For sure. So 13-4, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know if y'all agree with that schedule prediction down in the chat. If not, like and subscribe anyways. All right, so let's move on with the Cleveland Browns. Not a whole lot of high hopes with the Cleveland Browns, right? I think we already know what to expect from their defense. Even though they lost Myles Garrett, they did go and trade him for Gerard Verse. I think the biggest question mark with the Cleveland Browns is, what's Deshaun Watson going to look like? It's kind of similar to the Miami Dolphins, right? Like, our season kind of revolves around Malik Willis. Same with the Cleveland Browns. Their season success is going to evolve around Deshaun Watson and how he comes out and decides he wants to play football this year. Because they went out and got some nice pieces, right? They got Quinshon Judkins. They got Harold Fannin Jr. They went out and got Denzel Boston and KC Concepcion in the draft to add to their wide receiver room that already has Jerry Jeudy. So not bad weapons for Deshaun Watson to throw the ball to. It's a matter of what Deshaun Watson are we going to get. So, but week 1, they travel to Jacksonville. They start their season on the road for week 1 and 2. They play the Jacksonville Jags and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Both of them games are going to be a loss for the Cleveland Browns. And then they win at home against the Carolina Panthers. And they stay at home and they play the Pittsburgh Steelers. But the Pittsburgh Steelers are a pretty good team this year. And so they beat the Cleveland Browns. Then the Cleveland Browns play the Jets. And the Jets are going to get a loss here as the Cleveland Browns win in New York. And then go back home to play the Baltimore Ravens where they get a loss. But then they bounce back and they get a win against Tennessee. Not. Tennessee actually pulls out a win here. This is when Cam Ward, Carnell Tate, and all them, they're starting to get things together. They're starting to figure it out. But then the Cleveland Browns in Week 8 travel to Pittsburgh to play the Pittsburgh Steelers for the second time, and they're going to get swept by the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then they lose to the New Orleans Saints at home. They're going to definitely lose to the Houston Texans. That's not even a question there. We don't even have to go into that too much, right? Now, Week 12, after a bye week, they're sitting at 2-8, 2-8 going into their bye week at Week 11, coming out, hosting the Vegas Raiders, who we don't know what they're going to look like at this point either. Could the Cleveland Browns sneak away a win here? I think that they can. I think the defense wins this game, but then they lose to the Bengals, they lose to the Falcons at home, and they travel to New York to play the Giants. The Giants can be a sneaky team too. This could be a moment where the Giants are fully developed. Hold on, bud. And we're gonna give the win to the Giants, but we're gonna give the win to the Browns against the Colts late in the season, and then they finish out their season playing the Bengals and they lose. So they finish their season 4-13. What's up, bud? No, not right now, bud. 4-13. I think that's pretty accurate for the Cleveland Browns. That's, again, they're going to be looking for a top quarterback with a record like that. So far, that's the second lowest record of all the teams I've done so far, with the Arizona Cardinals only having 2 wins. They're the lowest so far. The Arizona Cardinals have 2 wins. All right, who can we do next? Let's do the Broncos. We'll do the Broncos next. We already have 7 games filled in for the Denver Broncos.
Dad, you can't say no to a mosasaurus. It's one of my favorite creatures.
We'll talk about it when I'm done, bud. We'll talk about it when I'm done. Because you already know you got to earn things, man. You just don't get things for free anymore. You got to earn them. All right, week 1, Broncos open up playing the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City. Already got a win there. And then back-to-back, they're going to go, this is where the LA Rams get their loss. We're going to back-to-back at home for the Denver Broncos. They're going to get double wins. They're going to beat the Jags, and they're going to beat the Rams early in week 3. And that's where the Rams get their loss. Awesome. I was wondering when they were going to get their loss. And then week 4, they travel to San Francisco. They get a win there. Week 5, they travel to LA for the Chargers. They get a win there. And then they play home against the Seattle Seahawks. I think the Seahawks are going to sneak away a win here. And then Denver Broncos play the Cardinals where they get a win. Then they host the Kansas City Chiefs and lose. But then they play the Panthers. They win there. They're going to win against the Raiders at home. They're going to beat the Steelers. They play the Dolphins in week 13 at home. They beat the Dolphins. They beat the Jets. Oh, they're going to lose to the Bills and the Patriots, so. No, they beat the Patriots, but they lose to the Bills. And they sweep the Raiders. $12 and 5. 12 and 5 for the Denver Broncos. Not bad. Not as dominant as they had last year. I could easily see this going south. I don't really see them getting higher than 12 wins, but I could see them getting less, right? So it's like, I could easily make an argument that maybe the San Francisco 49ers beat the Denver Broncos, or the Chargers beat the Broncos in week 4 and 5, and I can easily see the Rams beating the Broncos as well. So all 3 of those games I could see going either way. But as of right now, that's how I feel like it stands. 12 and 5 for the Denver Broncos. Let me know what you guys think in the chat down below. Do you agree? Do you not agree? What's good, Joe? But that's not bad. 12 and 5. That'll get them into the playoffs. That might even win their division. But it's not. I don't think it's going to be good enough to win the conference. But we'll see. We'll see. We're not done yet.
Okay.
Again, if y'all have anything you want to say, just chime in and I'll shut up so y'all can talk. If not, I'm just going to keep it rolling.
I ain't got nothing to say. Nah, I'm learning. So keep on rolling.
Right.
Unless Sharice wants to say.
I mean, I know you're probably breaking down the thing about I'm so whopped up and wound up, and I'm just waiting for a couple of scrimmages. I'm so far off because I'm so dialed into seeing one of our first scrimmages, one of our first practices, so I can get a gauge. As you know, I don't want to make any record predictions or anything like that until I see at least 2 preseason games. You know what I mean,
as
Kat?
you can see, that's
right
as you can see, that's why I'm saving the Dolphin schedule till last, because I'm hoping that I'll do every other schedule and that'll automatically fill in the Dolphin schedule. So I don't have to do the prediction for the Dolphin schedule. It'll just automatically get generated by the time I'm done. You know what I'm saying? because if I were to sit here and go through the Dolphins schedule, it'd probably be very biased and not actually like accurate. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be very biased this early on. That's why I haven't done an actual schedule prediction for the Dolphins yet, because it's like I'm with you. I want to see some practices, padded practices. I want to see a couple of these scrimmages that we got going on, maybe a preseason or two, you know, before I actually sit here and be like, okay, I can confidently say we're going to win this game, this game, this game, this game, you know?
Right. Well, I know I can say that two-a-days are back. Is the difference with the two-a-days that Jimmy had and Halfley is having is that you're gonna work in the daytime, out in the yard, and then you're gonna have classroom in the evening. So that's two-a-day. Back in Miami.
What's up? Welcome in, Joe. If you want to follow along with the
What's up, Sugar
predictions,
Joe?
you'll have to keep the
Mr. Paul
YouTube stream open.
Yeah, you'll have to open up the stream yard open and then pause it while you're in this Discord. So once you pause it on the schedule that he's analyzing, you can always jump back in here and just I have to scroll, I have to zoom in a little to the schedule. So just a little tip.
All right, so next we got the Detroit Lions. As you can see, we already got 5-1 record filled in for them by going through some of the other schedules. They start. I like the offense for the Detroit Lions, and their defense isn't bad either. But they have lost quite a few pieces on their defense, and they deal with injuries every single year. I think losing Terrion Arnold was a big hit. They lost a couple other guys in their cornerback room as well. So I don't think that they're going to be as dominant and as much of a powerhouse as they have been for the last couple years. So their season this year might be a little bumpy because they're gonna win easily hosting the New Orleans Saints early in the year. That's an easy dub. But then they travel to Buffalo and they get their first loss playing Buffalo. But they're easily able to bounce back as they beat the Jets, the Panthers, and the Arizona Cardinals before heading into their Week 6 bye with a 4-1 record. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4-1 record. But then they come out. They play the Green Bay Packers at home. I think this is early on. I think the Green Bay Packers are going to be able to sneak away a win. I think this is also where the Minnesota Vikings somehow are going to be able to sneak away a win against the Detroit Lions. And then they come down to Miami and they play the Miami Dolphins in Week 9. This is going to be a make it or break it week for the Miami Dolphins, and I think this is a game where I can confidently say, because of the injuries the Detroit Lions are going to be dealing with, the Dolphins get a win here. Oh, Week 10, playing against the Patriots.
How do I see the stream?
On the YouTube platform.
Oh, okay. Normally it lets me see it from Discord.
I'm not sharing it today because if I do that, it blocks that. Like when I go between screens, it kind of blocks it off from the stream, so it'll just show a black screen. So
Gotcha.
Just today,
Gotcha,
unfortunately, you just have to follow along through the stream, and then.
Yeah, I'll just put YouTube on mute.
All right, Week 10, they're hosting the New England Patriots. They're gonna bounce back here. They're like, all right, we're tired of losing games, especially at home. So they go 3 games at home, back to back wins, playing the Patriots, the Bucks, and then the Chicago Bears. But then they travel to Atlanta. I think they can get a win against the Falcons late in the season, and then another win against the Tennessee Titans and the Minnesota Vikings. The New York Giants are going to give them an upset here because, like I said, I think the New York Giants late in the season are going to be catching some steam, especially if they can stay healthy. That's where they're going to start gathering up some wins. And then they lose. They split the season with the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers. So the Green Bay Packers win Week 18 at home. Or no, lose. There you go. So not bad.
You have them losing to the Giants?
I have them losing to the Giants, yeah. I think.
Man, I was gonna say that's a massive win streak of 7. Yeah, 7 if
Keep
they
it going. Yeah, if
they
they
do.
can keep it going.
Be honest though, if you look at that stretch, the Vikings, Dolphins, the Patriots are going to be tough, but being able to host them would be an
Yeah,
advantage.
that's why I gave it to the Lions, because they were hosting that one.
Same thing with the Bucks and the Bears. But having the Falcons, the Titans, the Vikings, and the Dolphins mid-season, and the Giants all grouped together, the Vikings twice actually.
Yeah.
That should secure them the playoffs.
That's their
that bunch.
Exactly. That's their window that they have to, like, that's their playoff window right there. It's like, we have to win 7 of these 8 games to be in the playoffs.
Right, because ending at the Bears and at the Packers is going to be difficult.
Yeah, because I already got the Bears schedule predicted.
They got an easy fucking schedule.
Yeah,
Look at this thing.
It's not hard. It's not hard at all. Panthers, Cardinals, Saints, Falcons,
Jets, Panthers,
Dolphins,
Cardinals
Vikings
are 4
twice.
of their first 4 of their first 5 are crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that's why they went into the bye week at 4-1.
Right. Right.
So they finished their season out at 11-6.
And you have them taking some L's that I don't think they will.
Like the Minnesota Vikings won at home in week 8.
Yeah, and us.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I could see that, but I also could see that 1:00 heat being a little bit too much for their
Look at that schedule, though. I would love to have that schedule. Aside from ending at Bears and at Packers, everything else is nice.
Definitely a favorable schedule for them, and they can. I could easily see the Detroit Lions turning a couple of these L's into W's, but I can also see a couple of the other W's being turned into L's. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could easily.
Who's their running back number 2?
Pacheco. Yeah.
I mean, that's a good running back duo still.
Yeah, but it's not David Montgomery. You know what I'm saying? Pacheco's not good in the passing game.
I've always been a big fan of Pacheco. He's a Jersey guy, so I kind of have a bias, but
he's not.
He runs.
No, he does run hard. I give you that,
runs,
but he's not very good in the passing game, and that's one of the things that makes that running back duo what it was. Is they're both good in running and in pass catching. So we'll see how it translates.
Right. Yeah. Gibbs is probably going to get more of the passing targets. Goff spreads it out anyway, so I don't know. That's a very interesting team. If Dan Campbell can stay out of his own way, the Lions could do pretty well.
Because like I said, I could easily see some of these L's turning into W's, and I can easily see some of these W's turning into L's. Like, I can definitely see, like, I can make an argument that Chicago Bears sweep the Detroit Lions. You know what I mean? Like, I could easily.
So what is this? So as you fill out each team, does it auto-populate the games that you've already
Yes, Joe, it does, which makes it so great because, like, I'm sitting here, I was actually working on making a site myself because it's like, bro, like, you go through and it's like I have to remember who I'm picking because if I go to the next one, it's not going to auto-populate. No, this site auto-populates it, so it fills it all in for you.
That actually wouldn't be too hard to do with AI, actually. You could just upload the schedule and tell it to make that. Yeah, that's nice.
All right. So
how far into it are you?
We've probably done, what, 10, 12 teams maybe? Let's go back and look at what we got so far. Hopefully it'll keep saving everybody.
Any sequence, or are you just picking random teams?
Picking random teams, going down. It's basically in alphabetical order. I wonder if I can go and it'll show me where we're at right now.
And you did the Dolphins?
I'm saving the Dolphins for the very last, so it kind of gets auto-populated.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So I'm not biasly picking it.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Kind of letting it auto-populate and get filled in. All right, so we got the Green Bay Packers next. So the Green Bay Packers have taken a hit for sure this offseason. They lose their defensive coordinator. They lose a bunch of other pieces throughout their team, various pieces, mostly like second-string guys, Malik Willis, St. Anderson, Ben Sims. A couple of the office guys came over here. Their player personnel evaluator came over all to the Miami Dolphins. So the Green Bay Packers have had quite a little bit of a turnover, but it shouldn't be a serious turnover to where it like affects their gameplay too much. Maybe the defensive side of the ball, but the offense should still be what we're used to seeing from the Green Bay Packers. It's just going to be their defense. The defense is going to be the question. Week 1, they start their season going to Minnesota to play the Vikings. This is early in the season. We don't know what the Minnesota Vikings are going to be like. We know they are going to have a tough defense, but their offense, I think, is going to be the question mark. So I can give the win to the Green Bay Packers here. And then they play the Jets. I can give the win to the Packers there as well. Then they host the Atlanta Falcons in Week 3. That's another win. Week 4, playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I have a feeling that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to start their season much like they did last year. You're going to have Baker Mayfield in the MVP conversations early on. The question is going to be, can they sustain that success? But they're going to get a win in Week 4 as they host the Green Bay Packers. Then you have Green Bay hosting 2 back-to-back games at home against the Bears and the Cowboys where they get wins there. We already have those auto-populated, as well as a win against Detroit in Week 7 in Detroit. That's auto-populated as well. Week 8, got them losing to the Carolina Panthers at home. I don't remember why I said that when I was doing the Carolina Panthers schedule, but I got them beating the Green Bay Packers. All right. I'm looking at that now, though, and I'm like, bro, that doesn't make sense, man. All right, and then Week 9, I feel like the Patriots can get a win here at home against the Green Bay Packers. Then the Packers are hosting the Vikings at home in Week 10 where they sweep the Vikings. Then they got a bye week. So they're coming out of their bye week with a 7-3 record. 7-3 record. They come out and they got to travel to LA to play the Rams. Unfortunately, the Rams are going to be a really tough team for anybody to beat, so they get an L there. But then they travel to New Orleans and play the Saints and get an easy win. And then they get back-to-back losses against the AFC East here at home. And we could easily say the Bills can beat the Green Bay Packers at home. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, but you have the Dolphins beating the Green Bay Packers at home. And here's why. I believe because of that turnover, all of those pieces that left Green Bay, well, they went to Miami. And I think that I think Jeff Hafley in this situation should have the advantage over LaFleur, right? So Jeff Hafley is going to know exactly how LaFleur coaches a game, but LaFleur is not going to know how Jeff Hafley plans on coaching a game. He knows how he'll coach defense, but he's coaching the whole thing. Like, he's coaching everybody. So I could see the Dolphins being able to surprise the Green Bay Packers in Week 15, especially if they don't have Josh Jacobs in the backfield. That's my reasoning for that. I could honestly see this game going either way, but I feel like the Dolphins and Jeff Hafley will have the advantage over the Packers. Just because, like, all the Packers are over here anyways, so there we go. Then they travel to Chicago to play the Chicago Bears. They're going to get a loss there. They're going to get a loss to the Houston Texans at home, and then they're going to...
Wait, did you mark the Dolphins as a
I did.
Win for the Packers?
Yeah, hold on, let me fix that. I marked both of them wrong. Ouch. Now that we fixed that, ouch. Look at that. Ouch.
And you got the Rams beating the Packers, right?
Ouch. That's a horrible way for the Packers to finish out their season. 8-9. Ouch. Holy cow. It started off so great, right? But then they just fell apart.
Do they have Micah Parsons back right away?
Not early in the season, they won't have him. He won't be back till Week 6.
They're kind of lucky that they start with the Vikings and the Jets
Falcons,
and the Falcons.
He doesn't come back till like Week 6.
Oh, man, because he might have killed Tua in Atlanta. Or against Atlanta.
But Micah Parsons.
Not that I'm
Micah
wishing
Parsons
that,
is going to
but-
come back and their season's going to fall to shit, bro. According to my schedule prediction, Micah Parsons is going to be the reason they start losing.
And what people are going to start talking about. Look, if this happens to the Packers and we actually happen to have success with the roster that we have, or signs of success, people are going to be talking about that.
I'm telling you, man. Sully is in a prime position right now to literally make NFL history. Like, he is in a prime position to make NFL history and put
Greatest turnaround.
and be talked about for decades, for the next couple decades until another team has to do what we did,
I think it has to involve a Super Bowl,
Yes,
though.
within 3 years. I feel like within 3 years, within 3 years there has to be a Super Bowl at least appearance, right? And maybe even a win. But that's crazy. 8-9 for the Green Bay Packers.
I'm with you.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
Yeah, I think you should do the Rams.
I wouldn't have guessed that 8-9. I would have thought at least 11.
Yeah.
But going through it and the way I did it, it's just how it fell. You want to do the Rams next? We already got most of them filled in. They're already 7-2 right now.
Mr. Palk, what are your thoughts on that? With the Packers going 8-9. I think that's lower than what most people will say.
Yeah, I
that could be about right because they took a big hit, losing their staff and players. So that's that. I can see that. I can see that being possible.
I think if Jordan Love doesn't go out there and perform this year, he's also kind of on a seat where people aren't really sold on him.
Because if I remember,
and especially when you saw him get injured and Malik step in and play well, it kind of does make you wonder, like, was it Love or was it the whole system?
And not only that, like when we got Malik Willis, I can remember quite a few Packer fans were pretty upset because they wanted Willis over Love.
Yeah, so like that kind of makes me wonder, like, if this guy's kind of having an off year. I've talked about it with Stroud, where like people are going to be jumping off the boat on him. I think it could happen to Jordan Love too.
For sure.
I mean, it could happen to any QB with one bad season, right? But I think these guys are kind of right at that stage where they haven't really proven themselves.
It's like you look at Jordan Love and it's like, okay, yeah, you guys are playoff relevant, but you're not really doing anything else with it. And then you look at CJ Stroud, it's like, bro, you're a Super Bowl contender, but you keep losing games for your team. So
right. Yeah, and just 2 years ago, people were like crowning him early.
All right, let's get through this LA Rams schedule. Go ahead, Mr. Paul.
No, I just want to say, you mentioned the key things with Green Bay also, with the question mark with Josh Jacobs and what have you. And then the other thing is that, Sully and Halfley, and then some of the other staff has come over here to the Miami Dolphins. They're going to coach up this team to be ready for the Green Bay Packers. So yeah, all that plays a big role in that.
I guarantee you the Green Bay Packer game is like the game that's circled the most on that calendar. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have that game circled as like, this is a must win for us. If we can win one game this season, it's against the Green Bay Packers. Like, that's how I feel like it's set up in the locker room. But I could be wrong. But we got the LA Rams.
There's a reason I recommended this too, because I was gonna say, so you don't accidentally have them go 17-0 or 16-1 if it's, because that's not realistic. Even if they're a great team, I think
tough.
Predicting 0 or 1 loss is
and they don't
wild.
have this. They don't have the schedule to be able to go 17-0.
Look at this thing.
Yeah, like
look at the back half of that schedule.
No.
That's crazy. That's a gauntlet.
Tough. Their whole schedule is kind of a gauntlet if you think about it. Like, they start this season in Melbourne, Australia, in Melbourne, Australia, playing against the San Francisco 49ers. They do get the win there. Week 2, they're going to come home and they're going to play the Giants. Obviously, we're going to give that a win. I don't care how good the Giants are looking early on in the season. I don't see them beating the LA Rams. But week 4 here against the Philadelphia Eagles at home, like, this is an interesting one. I think these next 2 are pretty tough because, like, I could see the Buffalo Bills probably sneaking one away. But they're in LA, so I think I'm going to give the advantage to the Rams there because I also don't know what that defense is going to look like. We know what the Rams offense is capable of, but what's this Buffalo Bills defense going to look like? That's the question that I have. Are they going to be able to stop the likes of Puka and Devontae Adams, mix in a little Kyron Williams and some Colby Parkinson and Matthew Stafford just distributing it all? I can't give it to the Bills. The Eagles, can we see the Eagles pulling off a win against the Rams here? Early on in the season, no A.J. Brown. Still trying to figure out their identity. I think I can go with the Eagles here. I think I'm gonna go with the Eagles.
Eagles
I'm
at
gonna
home.
go with the Eagles at home.
2 L's in a row, man. I would love to see that happen to the Rams and people start doubting
Especially
it early.
on like that, right? So they start their season 2-2.
Yeah. Everyone's Super Bowl bets are getting trampled, or at least they think it is.
But then they bust off a bunch of wins, right? Win against the Bills, win against the Cardinals, win against the Raiders, win against the Chargers, win against the Commanders, win against the Packers, the Chiefs, and then finally another loss in Week 14 against the San Francisco 49ers at home. So they split with the 49ers, and they beat the Dallas Cowboys at home. I think we can give the advantage here to the Seattle Seahawks. At home, a divisional rivalry. We saw them do it last year. They kind of split. It was close games, but they still split. I think we'll give the advantage to the Seahawks here, but the Rams are going to finish out their season with a win and a win.
And I would love to see Chiefs Rams game on TV.
It will be. You know it'll be on
TV.
TV.
If that's Aaron Donald back, kind of showing flashes of, because they played each other in that one Super Bowl, right? Was it Rams?
Chiefs,
Chiefs?
Yeah.
So kind of, and that showing like I don't know, it's like a flat. What year was that? Like 4 years ago?
Before
Or,
2021. 2021.
3 years ago? 5 years ago? Something like that. But it would be kind of like a flashback to that several years back. I think that'll be a cool game to watch if Aaron Donald is back.
Yeah. If Aaron Donald comes back, I actually switch some of these to wins, to be honest. Yeah.
Oh, really?
I would switch Week 4 to a win for the Rams, and I would probably have them sweeping the Seahawks.
So you think he's in that kind of shape to come back and be the same Aaron Donald?
I don't think it matters. All right, so I don't think it matters what shape he's in, right? It's the matter of the fact that, like, you have him and Myles Garrett to deal with, not to mention the other guys that they have on their defense as well. None of them guys are scrubs, right? So it's like you can't double team both of those guys. One of them guys you're going to have to leave alone on an island, and either one is going to be a problem for the quarterback.
So you're saying, but one defensive player addition could add 2+ wins to their schedule? I mean, I get it. It's Aaron Donald.
Yeah,
but
I think it's
isn't that wild to think about with a defensive tackle?
Wild to think about, and that would give them the best record. If they did that, that would be a 15-2 record. But right now, I got them at 13-4, which isn't bad. It's still one of the top records so far. I think Chicago Bears are sitting at 13-4 as well. Yeah. I think I had who else did I have at 13-4? Oh, we haven't done the Texans yet.
Is no one's done better than that yet?
No. All right.
Well, you haven't done the Dolphins yet.
The Dolphins yet either. But they already have. I think they already have more losses than that, anyways. But let's start with the Houston Texans right now. They start their season hosting the Buffalo Bills early on in the season. C.J. Stroud's not going to be making any mistakes early, and this defense is a Super Bowl caliber defense. I don't care how good Josh Allen thinks he is. This defense alone can win this game against the Buffalo Bills. All C.J. Stroud has to do is not turn the ball over. But then the Cincinnati Bengals come into town, and unfortunately, I already did the Bengals record as well. They finished their season at 13-4 because you have a healthy Joe Burrow all year long, and that's just what it looks like. So the Bengals offense lights up the Houston Texans, and this is the highest scoring game that the Houston Texans defense allows all year long.
They let up.
This
Yeah.
will be the highest scoring game that their defense allows.
I hope that ends up being a playoff matchup. The Bengals offense against the Texans defense in the playoffs would be incredible television.
That would be. But this is going to be the game that the Houston defense allows the most points all season. Then they travel to Indianapolis to play the Colts. I don't see Danny Dimes and Jonathan Taylor being enough to stop that defense that they have over there with Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson and the stingy guy in the corner. And then we're going to give them a win against the Tennessee Titans. Then they have a divisional matchup against the Jaguars. This is early in the season. I think because it's a divisional matchup and it is at home for the Jacksonville Jaguars, they're gonna find some way to win this game. They're not the best looking team, but it's a divisional matchup and it's a home. I still don't see the Jaguars being that great though. Like their offense.
Yeah, I'm low on the Jaguars this year. I've never been sold on Trevor Lawrence.
See, the thing is, their defense is better than their offense, but it's not a top echelon defense. But can their defense be enough to make C.J. Stroud panic? You know what I mean? And that's going to be the key. Is like we know that the defense from Houston Texans can stop offenses, but can C.J. Stroud and that offense overcome the defense of the Jaguars? It's going to be a low-scoring game, probably 17-14 score. Jacksonville Jaguars get the win. And then they're going to easily win against the New York Giants. Have a bye week, so they go into their bye week at 5-2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5-2 going into their bye week. They come out of their bye week and they play back-to-back away games against the Chargers and the Browns. I think they'll win both of those games. That defense is going to wreak havoc on Justin Herbert in that run game. And then they play their second game against the Indianapolis Colts. They're going to sweep the Colts. Colts were just a flash in the pan last year. It's not going to translate again into this year. We got them beating the Ravens. Yep. We got them beating the Ravens. They're going to beat the Steelers as well. The Commanders.
And it's looking like the number one team in the conference.
They're going to beat the Jags at home. They're going to lose to the Eagles late in the season because the Eagles are trying to fix their season and pull some wins together to get back into the playoffs. And then go back-to-back wins to finish out the season. 14-3 so far. Yeah, it's the best record.
I mean, I think that's very possible. It all levies on Stroud and that offense. If he's just even average, that team will breeze to the 1 or 2 spot in the playoffs.
Yeah, he doesn't need to be exceptional. He doesn't need to be extraordinary, bro. You just need to go out there and not turn the ball over. Don't throw the game. Don't be a Tua. Don't be a Tua out there and be the reason that your team loses.
Yeah.
And if C.J. Stroud can do that, not only can he take this team to the AFC Championship and possibly the Super Bowl, but he could earn himself his next contract. He can earn himself that extension.
So you have them sweeping the Colts, which is obviously going to hurt the Colts record. Do you think the Colts take a dip this year?
I do think the Colts take a dip this year. I don't think they're going to come out and be that team that surprised everybody and went 10-0 basically before everything caught up to them. I mean, granted, they did suffer injuries, like Daniel Jones going down kind of killed them, but like we're looking at the same situation. You know what I mean? If Daniel Jones goes down again, they're in the same boat.
Yeah, I think a lot of it depends on if the running back can keep his consistency. if that offensive line is as good as it used to be.
Well,
And yeah, it kind of the offense too. Like Tyler Warren, like people now have film and the ability to prepare for him is like how he'll be used.
well,
So yeah, I think teams will adjust to the Colts and they won't have that surprising success like they did last year.
well, we got the Colts next on the list, and we already have the first 3 games filled out for the Colts. Week 1, they're hosting the Ravens. I got a win there, but then they got back-to-back losses against the Chiefs and Texans.
Yeah. I think they get some wins in here. I mean, the schedule's not scary. Look at that schedule, aside from the ones you have already filled in.
Yeah,
Hardest team on there is the Jaguars. Oh, actually, the Eagles
well,
probably.
they got the Texans too, the Chiefs, the Ravens.
I'm saying that you
that I
haven't filled in yet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm high on the Steelers too, though. So I do have them losing to the Commanders.
Yeah.
Early on, this is still a healthy Commander team. Jaden Daniels going to come back and try and make a resurgence this year, or maybe he doesn't. I think the biggest thing that hurts the Washington Commanders is their run game. They don't really have a clear, sure running back over there. They're kind of using running back by committee, and they're all like, they're not your big name running backs. It's like a bunch of RB2s, but they have 4 of them that they're using. So we'll see how Rachaad White does over there. I think he's probably going to be the running back that gets the most production in Washington. But I do think the Washington Commanders and led by Jaden Daniels, is going to be something to worry about early on in the season. Whether they can sustain their success throughout the season, that's going to be, we'll have to figure that out when we get to their schedule. We got them losing to the Steelers, beating the Tennessee Titans. We'll have them beat the Minnesota Vikings as well at home. Not real high on the Vikings either. I think once we get to the Vikings schedule, they might actually be one of the teams towards the bottom, in my honest opinion. At home against the Jags, I got to give this one to the Jags. We got them losing to the Dallas Cowboys. They're going to lose to the Miami Dolphins at home in Week 10. Because, trying to think of why they're going to lose to the Miami Dolphins. I'm trying to justify it right now. Give me a second. I'll justify it. Dang. I mean, their defense ain't that great, right? Their defense is okay. It's kind of towards the bottom of the pack. It's like mid-range, bottom of the pack defense. And the offense, like,
well, remember they did get Sauce Gardner now.
Yeah, but he got injured. So
Is he playing?
I'll have to look into that. That'll be something I have to look into, because I know that they got him late in the season last year, but then he got injured a couple weeks after they picked him up. I don't remember what type of injury it was, but
yeah.
We'll have to check on that.
It's showing on their depth chart. It's showing that he's healthy, but they drafted C.J. Allen and A.J. Halsey, the middle linebacker and the strong safety. And then on their defense, they added Akeem Davis Gaither and Arden Key. 2 guys. I don't know who those guys are, to be honest. One is a linebacker from Arizona. The other's edge or a defensive end from Tennessee.
All right, so basically it's
their defense doesn't really.
So basically it's
Tarvarius
Jonathan
Ford,
Taylor and Tyler Warren
Buckner
show in Indianapolis, and I don't think that's going to be enough, considering we got a defensive-minded head coach. I think the defense wins against the Colts.
Yeah, they lost Pittman.
The defense wins against. I know they lost Pittman and they signed Alec Pierce, who's injured. Should have kept Pittman and got rid of Pierce. Anyways.
Oh, I remember that, and they've added Nick Westbrook-Akine.
We already know how that is.
Ooh,
He'll get you a good solid 3 catches over the next 5 years.
Yeah, it's just the thing that they have going for them is that offensive line has remained the same.
You got Jonathan Taylor,
right? And they're going in with almost the same exact offense.
Jonathan Taylor.
So there's consistency there.
They have Jonathan Taylor and Tyler Warren worked out, so it's like they do have some things working in their favor. But like I said, I think the defense for the Dolphins wins this game, and that's the same with the Houston Texans. The next game, defense totally obliterates the Indianapolis Colts. Can they get a win against the Giants?
Who guards Tyler Warren?
For us, hopefully that's Jacob Rodriguez.
Yeah.
At that point in week 10. Hopefully it's Jacob Rodriguez and he's getting that peanut punch. Or Jordan Brooks.
So you're saying following him on the passing routes?
Yeah, because those are the two players we got to watch out for when we're playing the Colts. Tyler Warren and Jonathan Taylor. So
yeah.
Playing against the New York Giants in week 12, I think I can give them a win here. The Giants are kind of going to be similar to the Colts. I think the Giants are going to be better than the Colts this year, but the Colts are going to figure out a way to win this game somehow going into their bye week at week 13, going into the bye week with a 4-8 record. Not looking good, coming out having to play Philadelphia, who gets the win. And they're not going to sweep the Titans. You thought they were going to sweep the Titans, but Cam Ward and Carnell Tate and company are starting to get things figured out late in the season. They get a win. And they're not sweeping the Jaguars either. The Jaguars will sweep them. That's how we're going to do it. The Jaguars are going to sweep them to win their division. 5-12. That might be way low. I'm sure I got a lot of fans out there that are probably looking at this like I'm a fucking idiot, and they're like, "There's no way the Colts are gonna go 5-12." But I hate to break it to you, but I think that's how the Colts record's gonna turn out. They're gonna be sitting there at a very low record. They're gonna be looking towards one of those top draft picks and one of those top quarterbacks next year, because you're gonna find out in this season that Daniel Jones is not the guy, and he is the same guy he was in New York. All them
5-12
splash plays.
So that puts them in range for
That's
drafting a
that's
QB.
what I was just saying. Like,
year.
it's going to put them in that top quarterback range because they're going to find out this season that Daniel Jones ain't the guy. But I think they already paid him, right? Didn't they already pay him?
Yeah, I think so.
Damn, that sucks for them.
I don't know. I don't really follow the Colts too much.
That sucks
Ever
for
since
them.
Luck retired.
All right, so as we move over to the Jacksonville Jaguars, we already have 10 games filled in. They're sitting at 5-5 right now. Jacksonville Jaguars.
I don't think Rodriguez will be the guy to put on Tyler Warren though, because it's a major mismatch as far as height and length. I think we got to stick a slightly bigger guy because Tyler Warren's 6'6", and Jacob Rodriguez is 6 inches shorter with short arms. I think it's got to be someone.
I'll have to go
bigger,
back and look at how Daniel Jones throws the ball. But if I remember it correctly, I'm pretty sure he likes to throw it into their gut, and not like he's not the type of quarterback that throws it up. You know what I mean? Like Aaron Rodgers in that predicament, he would throw it high to where the tight end would only the tight end could get it.
I mean, maybe, but if I see Rodriguez on Warren, that's definitely the type of throw I'm making, is just where Warren could get it and Rodriguez can't. I would be more inclined to take one of our strong safeties and kind of pin him to
like line.
We have to figure that out anyway, right? Like, who's going to be our big DB? Because Kyle Lewis is also short, right? So I don't know if you could stick him on a tight end. And that's always been a huge issue for the Dolphins, is like tight ends tear us apart.
Yes.
We haven't been able to cover them since Rashad Jones.
All right, but as we look here at the Jacksonville Jaguars, who made a few moves in the offseason. They got things worked out with Brian Thomas Jr. Apparently last year they were asking Brian Thomas Jr. to do things he didn't want to do, so that's why the production got dipped for him, because they were basically asking him to run into the middle of the field, and he didn't want to do that. Well, that's your job, bud. So they worked out
Still not touching him in
Yeah,
fantasy.
they worked out their differences apparently, and he should be good to go. And you should see more production out of BTJ this year. But other than BTJ, they don't really have a whole lot of weapons for Trevor Lawrence to throw the ball to. You got Parker Washington, who's okay, but he's not anywhere near a wide receiver one. He's just a good wide receiver for them. And then they have another guy too. I can't think of his name, but they drafted him last year. So they have a bunch of young guys over there. They have a bunch of young pieces. They got rid of ETN though, and I think that was the biggest mistake. And they stuck with Bashul Tutin as their running back over Travis Etienne, and that's where they take their L's at, because their running game is not going to be as effective and as efficient as it was last year. So they're going to be relying a lot more on Trevor Lawrence in the passing game, and they're going to have to rely on the defense to try and keep these games manageable so they're not forced to throw it. But with that being said, they start their season with a win over the Cleveland Browns, but a loss to the Broncos, the Patriots, the Bengals, and the Eagles. But then they week 6, they beat the Houston Texans at home. They figure out a way to do it. Somehow they did it. Somehow they freaking did it. And then they go into their bye week in week 7. So they're sitting at 2-4 going into their bye week. They come out of their bye week. They host the Indianapolis Colts. They get a win there. They travel to Baltimore and get a win. They get a win in Tennessee over the Tennessee Titans. The New York Giants. Can this be one where Cam Scatterbo and Jackson Dart both have a rushing touchdown? I think so. And the Giants get a win. You have 2 rushing touchdowns from Cam Scatterbo and a rushing touchdown from Jackson Dart, and their 24-17 win over the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then they play the Tennessee Titans at home. They're actually going to sweep the Titans. But then they lose to the Chicago Bears. They lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're going to beat out their last 2 games. So we got them going 8-9, which doesn't seem accurate.
With the Jaguars? That's accurate for me.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
like,
I'm thinking.
if you
I'm
lay out
thinking
the
about
season,
the rest of their
it's just
division. Or they're in the division with the Houston Texans, so the Texans have that division on lockdown. Okay, so they'll be second place in their division.
You have them getting swept.
They're
Oh, no, you
no,
don't
they
have them getting
split with the
swept.
Texans, but they sweep everyone else. They sweep the Titans. They sweep the Colts.
So most of their wins are divisional. That's
Yeah.
pretty funny.
But their division is like, you have the Houston Texans in first place at 14-3, and then the second place would be the Jacksonville Jaguars at 8-9.
I agree with pretty much everything you have here except for the Steelers. I think that they would be able to take the Steelers at home. Yeah, but either way, 8-9, 9-8, I don't think is a playoff team this year unless you win the division.
Yeah, I don't either. I gotta take a bathroom break. I'm gonna put it on the next team.
All right.
And then I'll listen. You want to run through it? I'll listen to it and I'll fill it in when I get back. LA Chargers is already done. Oh yeah, we did the Chargers already. Philadelphia Eagles pretty much already done. See if we can knock the rest of this out. Yeah. All right. So we already got most of the Philadelphia Eagles schedule filled in. 8-2.
I'll be honest. I got them winning most of the remaining games.
I was looking.
I got them.
Yeah, I was looking at it too as I was out there. It's like you got week 1 against the Commanders. That can easily be a win. Another win. Going to travel to Tennessee. We got the loss against the Chicago Bears at home. We got them beating the Rams. We got them beating the Jags, the Panthers, the Cowboys. Finish out the season. We got the Commanders. I think it's a divisional game. I think the Commanders at this point want to try and make a statement for themselves, so they're going to get a win there. But we got the Eagles winning against the Giants.
Yeah, I think they split home and home.
I think so too. We got the Eagles beating the Giants at home. They're going to beat the Steelers at home. Then we got them losing to the Cowboys, so they're splitting with the Cowboys. Same thing, home and home. Beating the Arizona Cardinals, beating the Colts. I think they're going to lose to the Seattle Seahawks here. They're going to give the Seattle Seahawks the win, but they go home and they play the Houston Texans. They get a win there. They win against the San Francisco 49ers, but I think they sweep the Giants. I don't think they split with everybody. I think they're going to beat the Giants to try and win their division and be a top seed in the NFC.
Yeah, they're you look at their team, they have 3 new players, well, 2 really. 2 new starters if you're not counting the fullback. In Dontavian Wicks and Mekhi Lemon at receiver. And I think we've talked about it where the subtraction of AJ Brown is actually an addition.
It's addition by subtraction by getting rid of AJ Brown, because I feel like now the Philadelphia Eagles can form an identity. They don't have a diva wide receiver out there screaming for 90% of the attention.
Right, and then they have Hollywood Brown, and then that guy Johnny Wilson, the tall dude. I think he was Florida State receiver a few years back. He's like 6'6". Darius Cooper. They got options nice at receiver.
Like their defense is pretty nice.
Yeah. Their offensive line is pretty well built, and it's all returning.
Saquon Barkley in the backfield, who's a freaking top 3 running back.
They got Eli Stowers now in that tight end room, and Johnny Munt.
I feel about Eli Stowers. Yeah, they brought back Dallas Goedert as well.
Yeah.
They have a squad.
They got Stowers listed as the 3rd tight end behind Munt.
They have a squad over there, so I can easily see this record.
Barkley, obviously. Barkley and Bigsby combo is that's a good one. Yeah, and then on defense they added Reek Woolen at corner, and most of that remains the same. Jonathan Greenard is new too. I don't remember who they've lost on defense, but even their backups would probably all be starters on our team. It's a very complete roster, year in and year out. And their schedule, I think, is favorable this year. So I think the Eagles go back to their prime position there. According to your schedule and the games that were not filled in yet, I have them going 14-3, I believe. I think you have them taking one more L than I did.
Where do you have that?
I'm trying to remember.
Seattle, Bears, Cowboys, maybe.
I think it was. I don't remember. Maybe it was 13-4. It might have been the Seahawks.
Getting a win over the Seahawks. I mean, I could see that.
You already had the Cowboys filled in, right? And you already had the Bears filled in. And I had them splitting with the Commanders. So it was either the Seahawks or I was just wrong. I did 13-4. But either way, towards the top of the NFC.
Definitely towards the top. Let me know what y'all think about that schedule prediction down in the chat below. What team should we do next? What team have we not done yet? The Las Vegas Raiders we haven't finished yet. Right now they're sitting at a...
I'd be curious about the Cowboys too. I
I
don't know if you
have
finished the
Cowboys.
Cowboys.
We can go pull it up when I'm done, but I have finished the Cowboys. I think they went.
That's the only team I
11-6.
think is really competing with them for the
I think I had the
division.
Cowboys going 11-6.
And then And then you had the Commanders snagging a few wins too. Did you finish them?
Yeah, see, I have here's the Cowboys record. I have them going 11-6.
Yeah. The YouTube feed's pretty far behind. I don't know if I need to refresh. It says it's live.
Yeah, I think the YouTube feed is typically anywhere between 20 and 30 seconds behind. But it should be up there now.
Yeah, the Cowboys 11-6. So if you have them, you have them splitting with the Commanders. Yeah, I think you had the Commanders splitting with everyone. Which I think. What does their defense look like? Because they're not. They just changed their linebackers, right?
Well, they still have Bobby Wagner.
It's not the same defense from last year.
Yeah, but I'm mainly focusing on what that offense can do with the Commanders, not so much the defense. It's a matter of what the offense can do. But yeah, that wouldn't make sense because I have the...
Yeah, that's a completely new defense. They got Leo Chenal, who I'm a huge fan of, and Sonny Styles as their inside linebackers. If Sonny Styles pans out, that's going to be great for them. They added Nick Cross at strong safety, Emick Robertson at nickel for corner. Rasul Douglas is one of their depth corners.
All right, wow.
That's an entirely new defense. Everyone on there that's shown as a starter almost everyone is new.
Wow, look at what I got for them right now. They're already got 12 games filled in from doing the other schedules. And they're sitting at 4-8.
Right, 3 of those 4 wins are divisional.
They're sitting at 4-8. And I don't see them. Actually, I can see them sneaking away a win against the Seattle Seahawks early in the season. Because they don't have Charbonnet.
You think they would sweep the Giants?
They don't have Charbonnet. Their defense is a little...
What, he's out for a few
Charbonnet's
weeks?
on PUP, on IR.
Oh.
So they have to stick with Jadarian Price, their rookie running back, because they shipped off Kenneth Walker. Their defense has taken quite a hit this offseason, so it's not the same defense as before. I think I can give a win here to the Washington Commanders. You're asking if I think they sweep the Giants. I don't know if they sweep the Giants, but they're definitely going to get a win at home against the Giants in Week 5. Got them losing to the 49ers in Week 6, so they're going into their bye week at 4-2. So it's not so bad once they hit their bye week. They come out, see here, we got them winning against the Eagles, losing against the Rams, and then here's where that second game comes in. You got them playing against the Giants at home. Do they sweep or do they split? I think they split with the Giants. This is that division, like they're not going to let, John Harbaugh isn't going to let, maybe they do sweep the Giants. I'm trying to play this game out right now because it's still mid-season.
I think they're out of the playoffs already based on what you've already filled in.
Yeah, they're not making the playoffs. We went ahead and gave it to the Giants. Lost to the Bengals, win to the Cardinals, Tennessee Titans, Minnesota Vikings. Those are the last 2.
That's another team I want to see. Both those teams I kind of want to see because I think you've been pretty much all the Titans games you've been giving them L's.
A couple of them I've given them W's. Because later in the season I feel like I feel like late in the season, the Tennessee Titans are going to be one of those teams that start catching steam late in the season. They're going to start getting they're going to get it figured out. Carnell Tate and Cam Ward.
Like,
Yeah.
chemistry built up between
Yeah.
Ward and the new what's his name?
Carnell Tate.
Gosh, who was that
Tate.
top receiver?
Carnell Tate.
Carnell Tate, yeah.
Can we see the Commanders getting wins against the Titans and the Vikings?
Both away.
I know.
I think personally, I think the Vikings are going to be ass.
I filled it in with a.
I think the Titans are going to be ass too. It just depends on what you said with the later half of the season, maybe starting to get some motion going, some chemistry going.
So I filled it in. I gave a win to the Titans I gave the win to the Titans and the loss to the Vikings for those two games, giving them a 7-10 record. But I think there's room for that record to change. I could easily see it going and being a 10-7 record. We can, because that Titans game, we can easily say that the Commanders can win that one. We can put that one either way, really. I think the Atlanta Falcons and the Commanders game, I think that game can go either way. And then that second game with the Giants, really, like they could end up sweeping the Giants. So it's like I could see them going 10-7, but as of right now and how it's been filled out so far, like 7-10 seems fairly accurate for them. 7-10, 8-9 seems fairly accurate for the Washington Commanders in 2026. Let me know what y'all think in the comments below. Do y'all agree or do y'all not agree? But that's why I said save this for later so y'all can come back and roast my ass for how wrong I was. Going to the Vegas Raiders. We already got most of their schedule figured out. 1-10 so far. And they losing to the Dolphins in week 1. Kirk Cousins, you're going down. Bro, their schedule is rough, man.
We're gonna get to the Dolphins, and it's gonna be like 15-2.
No, it's not. I have losses for them already. But yeah, it might be. I'm gonna give it to the Patriots and the Bills here. Like the Raiders, like they're young, they're a building team, but damn, bro. Like, they can get a win over the Jets because the Jets...
Yeah, I don't think they get either of those.
You got to give it to the Seattle Seahawks here. I mean, we can give the win over the Titans. But that's still a 3-4. Yeah. That's still not a great record for them.
It's the first half of their season is brutal. But I still got them getting two wins. I got the Saints and the Jets losing to them.
Yeah, right now you can see we got the Jets, the Cardinals, and the Titans losing to the Raiders. But I could easily see the Saints.
I think people are going to be talking about that receiver all season, the one that's coming out of college. They're going to be linking him to the Raiders.
It's like you went out and got your quarterback this year. You're going to have a top pick again next year. You're not going to be in the quarterback race, but you're going to be the number 1 pick for Jeremiah Love. Right. 3-14 record.
And maybe those 2 back-to-back wins, the Titans and the Cardinals. Maybe that's Mendoza's, start.
Yeah. There you go. That's where he starts. Yeah, gets those 2 wins.
Although if you start 0-8 like that or whatever, what do you have them going? 0-7 to start. I think you roll out Fernando against the Jets.
If Kirk Cousins can't get you a win out of any of these games, or I guess it would depend, right, how the games look because they are playing some tough teams, right? You got. I'm going to ignore the Dolphins here. I just think that it's both question marks going into this team. I'm giving the advantage to the Dolphins.
Yeah, no, I could see them beating the Dolphins. They definitely have a chance against us, the Saints, and the Jets in that first half.
Yeah. They do have the opportunity to come out of there with at least 3 wins. But it's going to be on Kirk Cousins. It depends on what version of Kirk Cousins.
They're screwed
what version of
divisionally.
Kirk Cousins are we going to get? Are we going to get the early half of the year last year Kirk Cousins, or are we going to get the later half of the year Kirk Cousins. You know what I mean? Like early last year when he was playing for the Falcons, he lost that game to the Miami Dolphins, remember? But later in the year, he was playing lights out. So, we'll see.
Yeah, a lot of people are just automatically real low on Kirk Cousins. I don't know what to think. I know for that they're one of the other teams where it's kind of like us. Like it's not about this season; it's about what they're building.
Future.
And rolling out Fernando properly should be the biggest priority for them this year.
All right, so now let's go to the Minnesota Vikings. We got the Minnesota Vikings. So far, we got them at a 2-10 record. I'm not really high on the Vikings this year.
Yeah,
I don't like
JJ
McCarthy's
out.
Kyler
Murray's
Murray
out.
is the guy. He's not that great. I don't like. He's already having trouble connecting with Justin Jefferson and just.
What's his contract there?
I think it's just this year because he's still getting paid by Arizona. He's in the same. He's got the same. He's in a similar situation as Tua right now. So he's getting paid minimum vet contract.
Right, just not as grotesque.
So it's really it's a tryout year, right? It's a tryout year for Kyler Murray. They don't know if he's gonna be the guy. They're hoping that he can be the guy enough to be able to keep Justin Jefferson on the team. They have no run game whatsoever. Aaron Jones Sr. is a senior citizen. You have Jordan Mason behind him, so their run game is not that great. The biggest thing that the Minnesota Vikings have going for them is Brian Flores and AVG. So,
well, I think he's on to a new, to a better, maybe a head coaching position by next year. But if he can't do that, maybe he just gets DC somewhere else.
We were talking about this the other day. Is if like I think it was we were saying that Kevin O'Connell gets fired mid-season and Brian Flores gets elevated to become their coach mid-season. Yeah.
Interim. Yeah, but keep in mind the analytics are against the interim head coach is being retained for the following year as the head coach. I think it's like 25% of the time that the interim becomes the head coach or something like that.
I think what
it's
Brian
real low.
Flores, everything involves how that lawsuit turns out, right? Because he's got that lawsuit against the NFL going.
Well, also how the defense performs too. Right, like if their defense is butt cheeks with that low record, then like he might just be out of there in general.
House with everybody like we did could be possible.
That's what they got to do. I mean, sell Jefferson for what you can. You didn't figure it out at QB. There's very little chance that Kyler Murray becomes the guy there, and if he isn't, I think you sell Jefferson before the season even ends, possibly. Depending on where you think you can get better value before the trade deadline or before the draft the following year. But I start stockpiling picks and assume that you get one of those QBs in the draft. Maybe Arch becomes a Viking.
Arch becomes a Viking.
They didn't get it right with JJ.
Well, as you can see here, I
finished
out the rest of their schedule. I finished out the rest of their schedule for them. I don't know, somehow they ended up getting a win in week 8 versus the Chicago Bears. I might have to change that because they might be tanking for the number 1 spot. So I'm actually going to change that.
I'm curious to see what you have for the Bears because I saw you giving the Bears a bunch of L's.
I just switched one for the Bears because week 18 we got Minnesota Vikings. I switched it up. Originally I had the Vikings beating the Bears in week 18, sneaking a win away. But now that I go through their schedule, they're probably most likely going to want to be tanking, right?
Right. They have no desire to win that game. Unless it's to keep the Bears out of the playoffs or something.
Out of the question because the Bears have I think
already
been clinched by that point. But so far the Minnesota Vikings have the lowest record at 2-15. If I switching the Chicago Bears from a loss or from a win to a loss. If you want to look at the Chicago Bears, now they're sitting at 14-3. I had them at 13-4 before that.
Man, what a downfall for the Vikings! Imagine going. What was their record when they were? I think they were still the wild.
14-3, bro. No, they were 14-3 with Sam Darnold.
Yeah, and then Darnold goes and wins the Super Bowl with another team in the conference, and then they just dip to the worst record in the league.
Crazy.
I'd be furious if I was a
Oh,
Vikings fan.
oh, especially knowing you got one of the best receivers in the league, right?
You just wasted Justin Jefferson's career, basically, like the Lions with Calvin Johnson.
All right, so let's finish out the Giants record. We got them sitting right now. We have them sitting at 5-10. So they have losses in weeks 1 and 2 against the Cowboys and the Rams. Then week 3, we're going to give them a win early against the Tennessee Titans. Then they lose to the Cardinals. They lose to the Commanders. They beat the Saints in week 6. Lose to the Texans in week 7. They have a bye week. They're going into their bye week at 4-2. 5-2, sorry. Come out of the bye week, they lose to the Eagles. They beat the Commanders. They beat the Jaguars in week 11. Week 12, they lose to the Colts, lose to the 49ers. They're going to lose to the Seahawks. They beat the Cleveland Browns. They somehow find a way to beat the Detroit Lions. They lose to the Cowboys, so they got swept by the Cowboys, swept by the Eagles. Finish out their season at 6-11. How is that?
Wait,
How is that for John Harbaugh's first season as a New York Giant?
6-11.
Yeah, that's what I have right now.
With you want better. Yeah, I think you want better than that. You'd think with just that caliber of a coach and experience and your what is this, the second or third year
This
for
will be his
Darth
second year.
that we're going into?
And we got
The second year. Yeah, you're going into
we
your
also got to
QBs.
remember that both Cam and Dart were injured, and they didn't finish out the year last year.
Right, right. But you got the same running back and QB. You've hopefully got Neighbors in a little bit better shape than he was last year, and maybe he starts to bounce back a bit. Like you've got some things going on there. You've got some good defensive pieces. So I think you insert in Harbaugh, you want to be trying to hit at 7, at least to get to the 7 wins. I don't think 7 or 8. I'm not disappointed, but 6 kind of leaves me as a Giants fan, leaves me
Yeah.
wanting
Well,
more.
I mean that's where it's gonna.
Yeah, unless it's like heartbreaking losses, right? And you clearly see the vision of the team and it looks good, and maybe you're competitive in the division and
And
things like that, but I think you're probably
and I think
disappointed at
that's where
six
their
wins.
wins are gonna have to come from. It's gonna have to come from in the division, right? You can't let the Eagles and the Cowboys sweep you. And if you don't let them sweep you, that's 2 more wins. You finish your record at 8-9. I could easily see them possibly beating the Colts. I could see them beating the Colts. I could also see them beating the Cardinals in week 4. So I mean, I could see them going as high as 9-8. But I don't think that they're going to beat the Eagles either time. I think the Eagles will sweep them. I think the Cowboys they could possibly split with. But I think the Eagles are going to sweep them with no problem, especially considering that second game is week 18, and it's going to be a very important game for the Eagles as far as seeding and everything goes.
The Cowboys could be one of those teams that's like 6 wins or 12 wins or like even like
100%.
higher.
It really depends on their
Just
defense, right?
don't know.
Because we saw them last year. The offense can put up points. It's their defense was Swiss cheese, and their defense was allowing the opponents to put up so much points that the offense couldn't like overcome it. So it's like, but if you think about it, like they were losing games 38-35. You know what I mean? So it's like if that defense can just hold teams to 28 or less, Dallas Cowboys can win 10 games minimum without breaking a sweat. 6-11, I got it for the New York Giants right now. Let me know what y'all think about it down in the chat, and make sure you save that one so you can come back later, because I'm sure that one is wrong. That one I think is probably off by a few wins. Who have we not done yet? We already did the Broncos. Can you believe I only got the Broncos going 12-5? Who have we not done yet? 5-12 for the Colts. I think all we got left is the AFC East teams. Oh, let's finish out the Pittsburgh Steelers. We got them at 10-4 right now with the Pittsburgh Steelers. 10-4. Got 3 more games for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think we can go ahead and give them a win against the Tennessee Titans in Week 17. But now Week 2 against the New England Patriots. This is early in the season. This one's a tough one to determine. This one really is a tough one to determine. I think the Buccaneers will get a win over the Steelers in Week 6. That's early in the season still. Baker Mayfield's still in that MVP conversation. But the Patriots in Week 2, can they get a win here? Can they get a win here? I'm going to give it to the Patriots. Early in the season, I'm going to have to give it to the Patriots. Oh, man. I think the Steelers are that team, though. I really do. I think they're going to be so good this year. I'm going to give it to the Patriots. 11-6.
You should play if you think they're going to be 11-12 wins. I think you should play some bets because they're probably projected at like 8 wins or something.
Yeah, I already got some bets in. Yeah, Steelers going to make me some money this year. That's right. Steelers might help me retire, ladies and gentlemen. 11-6. I think this is pretty accurate. It doesn't win them their division. The Bengals will end up winning that division. They had a 12-5 record I gave them. So they end up losing out on the division, but it might be good enough for them to get a wild card. So we'll see how it goes because it also depends. Like the Cincinnati Bengals, how they perform. Like I said, I have them at 13-4. I think that this is a good, healthy year for Joe Burrow. I think he's going to stay healthy for most of this year. And that's where the Bengals are going to come up. They're going to win their division. But if Joe Burrow, like I said earlier, though, if Joe Burrow goes down at any points, a couple of these wins do turn into losses. Like especially this win here against the Baltimore Ravens. I can see that turning into a loss. I have them losing to the Chiefs. I mean, maybe that's the only one I see turning to a loss. Really, yeah. So that would put them at 12-5. Because they have all their real tough games out of the way early. Like you got the Texans early. Like their schedule is kind of cake if you think about it too. The Cincinnati Bengals do not have a tough schedule this year. Like they have a pretty cake schedule. Their toughest team that they play is the Houston Texans. And then the Kansas City Chiefs. And then the Baltimore Ravens. And then after that, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers. You know what I'm saying? Like they have a pretty cake fucking schedule this year.
Yeah, I would agree with that. They're clearly you have them winning the division.
Yeah. Clearly winning the division. And Joe Burrow, if he could stay healthy, with the teams that they play this year, Joe Burrow staying healthy, he can have an MVP caliber season. All right, we haven't finished the Bucks yet. Oh, we did finish the Bucks. They got finished out by themselves. The Bucks finished with a 9-8 record. I didn't even do that. It got finished itself.
What you got for that record on the Bucks? What was it?
And that will be.
What if that wins that
does
conference?
Win the conference. Or their division, not the conference. That wins their division. But you can see here, loss against the Bengals week 1.
Yeah, I think for some years now.
Win. Weeks 2 through 4. Loss to the Cowboys, win against the Steelers, loss to the Panthers, win against the Falcons, loss to the Bears, loss to the Lions, oh my. Then they win against the Panthers, Chargers, lose to the Ravens, beat the Saints, lose to the Falcons. So they split with the Falcons. They beat the Tampa Bay, or they lose to the Rams, and then they beat the Saints to finish out their season at 9-8, taking their division with that win over the Saints, sweeping the Saints. All right, who's next? I don't think we have a whole lot of teams left. Got one. Oh, week 1. Who do you think wins, the Jets or the Titans?
Who is this for?
This
Jets
is the
versus
Tennessee
Titans?
So far, I have all their games are filled in except for week 1, which is Jets versus Titans, and they have a 2-14 record as it stands right now.
Oh. Honestly, I'll take the Titans.
The Titans. Okay, week 1, take the Titans over the Jets.
Yeah, it's at home. You know, they're the Jets still have a whole bunch of new pieces that they gotta figure out how it's gonna work. I don't have faith in their head coach. Even though they have, you know, talent on their roster, they haven't shown that they know how to put it together yet. So I would say the
that
Titans.
gives them a 3-14 record to finish out their season. They're in that top 5 draft pick. They're in that top 5 draft pick realm, and I think all we have left is the AFC East. All we have left is the.
If someone wants to sell me on the Titans and they will be good and have more than say 5 wins, I'm all ears.
Yeah, I think it's tough to sell somebody on that right now, considering Cam Ward had such a bad year last year.
Right. Yeah, he was very tough to watch.
Patriots versus Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks at home. This is a Super Bowl rematch. I don't think it's going to be any different. I think the Seahawks are going to win it again. Week 4, they go to Buffalo. They play the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo's going to get that win, but they're going to get the win at home against the Jets. Week 8, they play the Dolphins at home. I think this is where the Patriots, they get their win there. Week 8, they come and they spoil us on our home turf. Week 9, they got a win against the Packers. They got a loss in Week 10 against the Lions, and Week 12 against the Chargers. They're going to split with the Bills. So they're playing the Bills at home. They're giving the advantage there. Week 14, they play the Vikings. They get the dub. They travel to Kansas City, play the Chiefs. They get a loss against Kansas City. Week 16, playing Jets at home. They're going to get a win, and the Dolphins are going to play spoiler. The Dolphins are going to play spoiler Week 18 against the Patriots to spoil their record and finish them out at 10-7. Because remember what I've been saying. I think the AFC East gets won with a 10-7 record, and we've been filling it out. And I think we haven't gotten through it yet, but I think it's pretty close to being that. Got 3 more games for the Buffalo Bills. 3 more games for the Buffalo Bills. Week 10, playing the Jets. That's a win. At home, playing the Bills. That's going to be a win for the Bills. Week 17 is our rivalry jerseys playing against the Bills. We're not going to let the Bills sweep us. We're not going to let any team sweep us, but the Bills are still going to win the division. Damn it, man. 12-5. Damn it, man. Urgh. Damn it, man.
Yeah, I think that's about right. I think that they will beat us, but I think maybe they lose to either the Chiefs. I think they'll sweep us, but I think they either lose to the Chiefs or the Bears, or the Ravens at home, and that's what gets them to 12-5.
Grr.
I don't think we're at a point where we can compete with the Bills yet.
Well, we weren't
Even though
we,
they
we
have a
weren't
new
at
head
that point
coach
last year
and
either,
a
but
new-
we still ended up doing it. You know what I mean?
I know, but I think the roster's not where
Ouch
it
for
was
the New
last
York
year.
Jets, bro.
I think we've got a better future, but we're a spot than we
Ouch
were
for the
last
New
year.
York Jets, bro.
Yeah, what does that put
Oh
the
my
Jets at?
gosh, they only have 2 more games left to fill in. That's the Dolphin games, and they're at 0-15 right now.
Yeah, that's the I think we either split or sweep them though. I'm not
Bro, if we
sold on the
sweep
Jets.
them,
And I've been saying the whole time, Geno Smith
if
is
we
Dr.
sweep
Tank.
them, that gives them a 0-17 record.
It could happen. It could happen. What's his name? Glenn would be gone. Probably after the bye week or at the bye week.
I'm gonna go ahead and say they split with the Dolphins, and that gives them a 1-16 record. They're definitely drafting quarterback next year, right? That's the worst record.
I think it's going to be
That's
Arch. I think there's no way that they don't pass that they pass up to have a Manning name in New York. I think just the media that would be around it is enough for them to want to do that.
That's definitely the lowest record so far. And the Dolphins go 9-8. What do you think? After filling out the 32 teams, the other 31 teams, Miami Dolphins got auto-populated with a 9-8 record.
I got us going that in 2027.
Yeah, because we could easily break this down, right? And things aren't necessarily going to turn out the way that we think they're going to turn out. Like that week 2 could easily be a loss. I put it originally as a win when I went through for the San Francisco 49ers because of all of the things that they got going on right now, right? So it's like you think George Kittle's not going to be ready. They have their problems going on with their coach right now, Kyle Shanahan. He got in that car accident. So he's not there he's not going to be there through all the training camp. Then you have them playing week 1 in Melbourne, Australia. So they got to travel from Australia back home to San Francisco to play in week 2. So I feel like because of all of those circumstances, like if the Dolphins are one of those surprising teams, they could probably surprise the 49ers early on, but I can easily see that being a loss for the Dolphins. Same with the Buffalo Bills and the Patriots. I could easily seeing them sweeping us, right? So that would take away 3 more wins. That would put it at 6-11 right now. And if we think about the Detroit Lions, like they could easily beat us. That would put us at 5-12. And then the Indianapolis Colts, they've beat us before, so it doesn't guarantee that we're going to beat them. But I don't think that they're that great of a team this year. But if they win that game, that puts us at 4-13. And then again, week 1, we don't know what's going to happen in week 1. That could easily be a win for the Raiders, and then that would put us at 3-14. No, that would put us at 2-15, right? 1, 2. No, that would put us at 3-14.
And I just if we're down there though, if we're down there in that record, I hope there's signs of life like that we can get excited about. Like for example, maybe Jonah Sabanea steps it up, and we prove to have a very formidable offensive line. Although I think wins would come with that. If our offensive line is good, I don't think you can avoid wins, right? Or maybe Hafley's got a good grip on the defense, and those draft picks that we invested in are showing out. Or maybe we see something out of Malik that we want to keep around. If we're at 2 wins, I don't think it's likely. Then concept is the offensive line. I think if they're working out, we get more than 2 wins. I just hope there's things to get excited about if we're looking at this top 5 pick besides the top 5 pick.
Yeah, now I'm just trying to bring up I'm trying to find the actual thing now, so it'll give us a full view of all of them. Where's it at? Where do I go to find it? But yeah, this is another decent website that you can use to do things. Like, they got power rankings and brackets and stuff, so it's like, I'll go through here. We can go through here another time and have some fun with it. I'm trying to find the actual freaking thing that we just did, so it shows me. Maybe if I just do it like this. Maybe if we just do it like this. Grr. Come on. Where is it? All right, here we go. Did it fill it out for me though? All right, so here it is. Look at it, division style. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so this is how it turns out division by division. We can see our two top teams are the Chicago Bears and the Houston Texans, finishing out the regular season. Both of them had 14-3 records, and we can see right behind it we had the Bengals, the Rams, and the Eagles finishing out at 13-4. And then we had the Broncos and the Bills finishing out at 12-5. And then we had the Buccaneers finishing out at 9-8, and that wins their division. So those are all your division leaders. So based on this, in the AFC, you would have a fight between the Steelers and the Chiefs for that wild card spot, and you know both of them would get in, because you would have you would have the Bengals, the Texans, the Bills, and the Broncos are locking it down in the AFC. So then you would have the Chiefs and the Steelers, and then the Patriots would make the wild, or the Patriots or the Chargers would make the wild card.
They play
I
head
think
to
they
head.
did play head to head. They do.
They
so
do,
there
right?
would be a tiebreaker there.
Oh.
So it would either be, I don't remember who I gave it to. I think I actually gave that game to the Patriots because I think it was early on in the season. But there would be a tiebreaker between the Patriots and the Chargers. They do play this year, so whoever wins that game in this, according to these schedule predictions, would make the 7th wild card spot. Then we go to the NFC, and of course you got your 4 division leaders, your Bears, Eagles, Rams, and Bucks. And then behind that, you got the San Francisco 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks getting in at 12-5. And then it'll be a toss-up between the Cowboys and the Lions for that 7th seed, according to my schedule predictions. And if y'all weren't here and got to check them out, make sure you go back into the show, check it out. Let me know about your favorite team. Did I get it right? Did I get it wrong? What do you think about these schedule predictions? I mean, it looks fairly accurate. I can go back, and there's a couple teams that I feel like I could switch some games either way. I think this record prediction for the Miami Dolphins turned out to be a little high, but I'll fucking take it. Not going to argue with that. But our number 1 pick goes to the New York Jets. And Joe was right. Geno Smith is going to lead 2 teams to the number 1 pick back-to-back years.
Yep.
But that's not bad, man. That's not bad.
Where are we picking in that? Are we picking about what,
Yeah.
15th or something?
Yeah, we're picking in that 15 range. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 teams ahead of us. And that would make 13 teams behind us. So 17 range.
What happens if we get there and we're at that record because our defense is stellar, right? And A-Chan's doing pretty good, but the QB is just not working. What do you do at that point?
I think we go and we try and do what Pete was talking about before this, before the draft, and like try and maybe use Malik Willis or some kind of other something else to use to try and move up, right? Like add a player with our draft pick to try and get up into those top picks.
Might be A-Chan.
Could be A-Chan.
I think if we go 9-8, we want to try to ride him again, though, the
100%.
following year.
I think it would be more of like, it would probably be like Malik Washington, especially if they use him quite a bit. It'll end up being one of these receivers that we have. But we don't have none of them signed. I don't know, man. It's going to be tough, bro. We're going to have to figure it out.
Yeah.
Because we want to have to move up to get one of those quarterbacks. And
right.
if we're picking...
Might have to move on from Brooks or something to do that.
Possibly. Or Sealer, maybe. Sealer could be a piece that we could dish out to somebody.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, that's not bad, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, let me know what y'all think about it down below in the chat. And if y'all are coming here afterwards, make sure you drop your comments. Let me know. Let me know your teams. And then don't forget, smash that like and subscribe. We got a lot more content coming to you guys. As you can see, there's all kinds of games that we can play on these sites. We're going to do some more 20-0 challenges because those are super fun. If y'all have not tried those out, definitely go check them out. They're pretty dope. We're going to be running a few more drafts before the season starts, getting you guys ready for your fantasy football leagues, giving you guys some sleepers, all of that stuff. So be on the lookout for content coming up because AFC Eastie Boys, we ain't stopping. We ain't stopping. You got anything you want to say to the fans before we dip up out of here? Because I got to go get the wifey.
No, just hopefully we can be competitive in Fernando Mendoza's league, which is the future.
Yeah, that's going to be key, right?
We're about a year away from
becoming competitive for the future.
Yep.
All right. Well, it was fun, man. I'm glad you stopped by, hung out. I'll probably go live again tomorrow, but I don't have anything planned, so it might just be bullshit and talking tomorrow.
Yep.
Hey, no problem.
Thanks for having me up.
Everybody else, peace out. Have a good day. Fins up. We went 9-8, baby. 9-8. Woo!
Peace out.
All right, later.